What's up, Flannelverse? We are falling behind a little bit in our quest to become the oldest person ever to stream all 150 best Ball Mania drafts. We are 82 done, 68 left to go. The math says I need to pick up my pace a little bit. Thankfully, going to get a couple out of the way tonight, and I have a great guy to draft with. You can see at Draft 32 Teams on Twitter. Sorry, my YouTube started going, so that threw me off. At Draft 32 Teams on Twitter. He is GPNGC on Underdog, and he is an Underdog daily games crusher. Anybody who plays against him knows the name. Andrew, how you doing tonight?
I'm great. I'm excited to draft. I watch these streams all the time. Can't wait to be on one.
Yeah, excited to finally have you on. I feel like we've known each other a little bit on Twitter for a while. So good to finally meet you face to face, be able to do a draft together. And I asked you this before the stream started, but I'm wondering if anybody else, actually I'll ask chat instead of asking you. Is this your name, GPNGC? Is this something that other people would know what that means? Would anybody know what that means? Can people guess it?
No, nobody.
Okay, nobody's going to guess it. So I'll just have you tell everybody, what does GPNGC stand for?
Gary Payton was my favorite basketball player. It was just Gary Payton never got a championship when he was on the Sonics and then the Bucks, I think, and then ended up on the Heat, and he did. So it's no longer true.
Yeah, good for Gary. So this must be a really old username.
Yeah. So I'm wearing my Seahawks shirt. So Gary Payton was the reason why I became a Seahawks fan, even though I'm from the East Coast. So.
Oh, that's funny. So you just happened to be. So you were a fan of the Sonics just because like they were cool. Like they were cool. I like Gary Payton, Sean Kemp. Couldn't be any cooler than Gary Payton and Sean Kemp. And that led you to all the other Seattle teams?
Absolutely. Yep. That's exactly what happened.
It was kind of the same way for me with the Bulls, leading me to being a like kind of in name only. In the 90s, I was a Cubs fan. Like I liked Ryan Sandberg. I claimed was my favorite player. I was a Twins/Cubs fan. So I get it. When you're a kid, you can just do stuff like that. You can just claim multiple teams if you want to.
Maybe it was having too many choices in New York, so I just went with the Seahawks.
Yeah, of course. You told me, a couple weeks ago when we thought about doing the stream, you said that you wanted to talk a little bit about. You thought the topic's interesting, at least when people are trying to get unique in terms of structure, what they're trying to do, who are they trying to beat? We didn't really flesh out that conversation. Are you somebody who likes to get unique in your structures, or is it something you think people are getting too cute with?
And that's what I'm struggling with right now. I think I do try to get unique from the wide receiver avalanche, I guess you could say, or really this bubble that we're in, watching streams all the time, whatever you would call us. I mean, some guys, the funny guys in the other streams call it the cabal and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I do try to get unique, but my main leverage point, and I tweeted it out and a lot of people agreed with it, was about just starting with 2 running backs, not within the first 3 rounds. And because I just don't think a lot of people are pairing 2 of those, I think it's the top 6 running backs together with that great wide receiver, whoever it is. And then just from there, build a sound team where mostly what you're going to have is sharp drafters not doing that. So the only people who are doing that are then going to draft a crappy team afterwards, if that makes sense. So lot of.
So you're not talking unique in like the number of players you have at running back, quarterback, wide receiver necessarily. Like you're not trying to do 3 running backs or 1 quarterback. That's not what we mean by unique. Obviously, if you're taking 2 running backs early, that allows you then to potentially only draft 4 or 5, whatever. So you can switch it up a little bit in that sense. But you're not talking about like going completely off the board with like just only 3 running backs and then being done.
No. I think the most used structures at the end of drafts, I think those are probably directionally accurate and optimal. As close as we can get to that. It's just the beginning, like Hayden Winks did all that research and stuff with the four wide receivers through 7 rounds. Like I'll push back on that a little bit. You know what I mean? But I just don't think sharp drafters are drafting 2 running backs or 3 running backs through 4 or 5 or 2 running backs through 3 as much as maybe we should. And I actually have my player takes are why I think that too. So a lot of people agreed with that. And then I thought back on it and I said, in my head, I was like, am I really just trying to beat the sharp players? Like probably not, right? I'm just trying to beat the bad players who, like I said, they're drafting 2 running backs through 3 rounds and then drafting 7 running backs or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it was an interesting thought that I had kind of pushing back on my initial thought, because we're in such a bubble. Am I actually trying to beat sharp players, or am I just trying to beat all the bad players because there's
Right.
more of them? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that is the conundrum of, I can't remember if it was Shady Advice or somebody on my podcast talked about how, like, people think as sharp players that you're trying to beat the other sharp players, but really what it comes down to is all the sharp players are trying to get their piece of the pie from the bad players in like DFS. Of course, in best ball, even the sharp, most sharp players are probably not going to get their piece of the pie in this lifetime in a best ball mania type contest, in these super large field contests. Even if you are the sharpest drafter out there, it's likely that you're never going to win a best ball mania contest. But it is, that is a good thing to question. Who am I trying to beat by drafting these unique structures? I agree with you. Like, I go so far into, like, I'm so zero RB, hero RB, and like that's like 95% of my structure, I would say. And I do question that sometimes. Like, maybe I really do need to switch this up. But I think that's the kind of thing that, as camp news comes out and I feel more comfortable with like round 17, 18 wide receivers, then I think I'll be a little bit more inclined to mix up the structure a little bit. But yeah, I think that's a totally valid question. Are we going too far in the direction of, zero RB based on a pretty small sample size? We only have a few years of data so far. Definitely an interesting question.
So like when I'm drafting, it's like, why don't I just build the way, not that all streamers are building the same, but just being very cognizant of where the receivers are going and pounding receiver as much as you can. I mean, I was talking to some of my friends who don't play best ball, but they know fantasy football, they know dynasty and redraft and all that. And I said that in these drafts, when we don't take a wide receiver, like, these sharp guys call it a detour, and they laugh. Like, are you serious? I was like, because it's all about running backs and redraft or whatever it's been, the legendary seasons and all that. So I'm wondering if I just sat there and I just drafted the way the cabal is telling me to draft, and it makes sense. Am I just building a plus EV portfolio, and that's what I should just be doing to beat the bad people? And that's probably true.
Yeah, I mean, it's still nice sometimes to have those unique structures. Yeah, it's something that I struggle with a little bit. Maybe you can show me how to draft a non-zero RB team tonight. We can go a little bit more running back heavy, depending on obviously what's available to us. We can try some of these unique builds that you like to do. All right, I am going to, if you are ready to jump into a BBM draft. How are you feeling?
I'm ready.
All right, if you guys are ready to draft with us, hop in now. And then I'll say hi to chat. All right, we are almost full in this one. It is, of course, good to see all of you. Yes, Whohames, a wild Whohames appears. Good to see you, Whohames. Disbanded Brotherhood, of course, just does the dot right back at you. What's up, Pound? He says he recognizes your username. Pat from the Dog Pound, good to see you. Douche McCaffrey, good morning. I think this is a... Oh, is this a haircut? I assumed Gary Payton strain. I thought this was a marijuana reference. Looks like it might be a haircut reference. Gary Payton's just bald, right? Did he ever have hair?
Actually, I don't know why I know this, but in the Olympics he did once, but he was bald for the most part.
When he like started, when he started in the NBA, he did have, maybe even had like, did he have this thing, the like upward kind of like cut and then angled?
I don't think so. I think he was bald, except like in the middle of his career, he was on the Olympic team, and I think he had a little bit of hair.
We got the 9-hole, which obviously we could get a running back if Bijan or Brees falls to us. We could also reach for Jahmyr Gibbs if we want to go running back, but I feel like it's a good spot to potentially go running back if we decide we want to. I happen to know a running back that you like, who I put in the thumbnail of this video just from perusing your timeline. I know that you like one Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah,
could be an option.
I've argued for Taylor a lot. I just think last year, where was CMC going last year? The 104, 105?
Yeah, something like that. I want to say it was like Tyreek and CMC were like the 103, 104 kind of interchangeable.
And I was overweight CMC, and that was a good call, obviously. But
yeah,
it was kind of similar where like this guy's shown the ceiling of being the 101 in the past. He's in his prime, and he's in a great situation. I mean, it's pretty much the same argument for Jonathan Taylor. Now, obviously, CMC's better in terms of the receiving and all that. But the guy's already shown the fantasy ceiling, so
Sure.
now he's got a rushing quarterback that should help his rushing efficiency. Obviously, I don't like the receiving work, and this is the joke. Again, we're in a bubble. It's 0.5 PPR, you know?
Right. True.
All right, so we're at the 109. Can I see?
Yeah, let's see who's available.
All right, cool. Yeah, so there's two ways we could do it. I definitely do want to recommend we start with 2 running backs through 3 rounds, depending on what happens. But for the most part, we should be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a good spot to get one right here. Do we want to go Breece Hall?
Yeah, go Breece Hall. Go Breece. I'm not a huge Puka guy. I like him, but I think his price is a little high, a little rich for me.
I take a good amount of Puka, just because I feel like there's some concerns with Cooper Kupp's health that are not, I don't know, fully baked in. So I do draft a good amount of Puka, but yeah, not ahead of Breece Hall. If Breece Hall's there, I'm taking him ahead of Puka every time.
One thing that I don't think a lot of people are talking about this offseason, but I know I was talking about it last offseason, was like Stafford, I think, almost retired last offseason. So
I know.
His health is also very much tied to both those guys. And because Puka's going in the 109, if you lose Stafford,
true,
it's pretty risky.
Yeah. I mean, I think Stafford is at least going to start the year this year, but yeah.
100%. Yeah.
All right. So now we have a running back. Drake London would be my typical go-to here, but I'm open to suggestions.
Take your pick. I think off the top of my head, I think Drake London does have the same buy. Yeah. Buy 12, him and Olave. Yep. I'm fine either way. You could go Debo. Just in terms of getting unique, I might consider Waddle here, just because I love Waddle. But go London.
All right. Yeah, I feel like I have London like a half tier ahead of Waddle.
Okay, that's fair.
Maybe it's not fair. It might be just kind of, maybe ADP has swayed me a little bit. Like we've seen it more from Waddle than we have from London, I think. So maybe I shouldn't have that gap there, but
there's a lot of sharp people are on Atlanta, and they should be. It just makes sense, he's going to be the wide receiver 1 on an explosive offense with a very fantasy friendly quarterback.
Yeah,
it makes sense. Good
play.
And
they say they're going to be feeding him the ball, so just taking the coaching staff at their word.
Right.
And I think Kirk Cousins is the type of quarterback who can get him the ball. So yeah, I really like Drake London this year. But Waddle, like anything happens to Tyreek Hill, suddenly Waddle is just wheels all the way up. So
and he's got the ceiling regardless. Tyreek could be playing, and Waddle happens to run hot with 3 touchdowns in a game, including an 80-yarder, and that's what you need. I mean, there's few players with his explosion on the field, really. And I'd argue, like, not that he's run bad, but sometimes I'm watching games and like there's stuff out there for him that a misconnection here and there. I like to target guys who can house it from 80 yards, and he's somebody who could do that. So he's also very good at receiver regardless, but just that explosive playmaking like skill, that's why I love Waddle, in a perfect offense for him.
Did you do any pre-draft stuff when you could get both of these guys in the like late 3rd round, early 4th round, Waddle and London?
Pre-draft I did. I don't remember exactly how many I did. I didn't do like 100 or 50 or anything like that, but maybe 20 or 30. I don't remember ADP off the top of my head with all that stuff. I was definitely taking Waddle though, and London at those prices.
Yeah, I was pretty in on them.
No, that makes sense for sure. I wonder if the pre-draft stuff was not the wide receivers yet, people not going nuts over receivers yet.
I feel like it was already, like wide receivers are going. It was just these guys were pushed out, and partially was like that was before Kirk Cousins signed with Atlanta, I believe. So maybe that was part of it. So Drake London's price just didn't reflect the new quarterback fully. It reflected like there's going to be a better quarterback than Desmond Ridder, so it was partially baked in, but like we didn't know who was going to be the quarterback yet. So it didn't fully move up yet. And Jalen Waddle, he was a guy that I know Leg Up really loved him. So I was drafting a ton of Jalen Waddle at the time. Did not anticipate, got kind of lucky in terms of the closing line value. I thought he was a pretty good, late 3rd round pick, but I didn't really see him moving up to like mid 2nd round.
Yeah.
All right. We are coming up on our pick. Kyron goes. Now you said you want to go 2 running backs through 3 rounds.
Derrick Henry went?
Derrick Henry went and
No,
Kyron went. Yeah.
then we can't do it.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
All right.
That's fine though.
I thought you were going to make me reach for Pacheco or something.
Oh, no way. No way.
Right.
Derrick Henry is where it ends. Kyron and Derrick Henry is where that theory ends.
Okay. Now here's where sometimes I'll go Josh Allen because we already have the bring back in Breece Hall. Otherwise, I like Diggs, Dell, whoever you like here.
I would just go Diggs unless you really want. Oh, is Josh Allen gone?
Josh Allen is not gone, but I'm fine with just going Diggs. We could think about Josh Allen on the next turn if he comes back.
Sure. Yeah, go Diggs.
Yeah. I like that start. I think Diggs is a pretty strong play in the late third round. Feels good.
Yeah. Just want to be basically even with him.
I'm buying into the Ben Gretsch narrative of Diggs is on a 1-year deal with a new team. He's just going to be on his best behavior. Of course, if he's fully washed, it doesn't matter. But I don't think he's fully washed. I think that he showed enough early last year. He didn't look washed to me. Saw him. Everybody remembers the one like long missed catch that was like needed to make the catch to win the game. Like we all have that memory of Diggs just looking bad. I don't think he was washed. I think he just missed an open catch. I don't know. I think he's going to come back full steam ahead this year.
Yeah, I like Diggs, and one of the reasons why I'm targeting these Houston guys, I really haven't taken much of them, but I like taking them now because Stroud is falling for really crazy reasons. So yeah. Stroud at 80, 85, 82, like that's
feels good.
Having that option, like I would love to just have a share of Diggs. There goes Josh Allen. Yeah. See, like how he started the 12 spot. I don't mind it. Like as long as now you go crazy at receiver, you know.
Yeah. Do I mind? I mean, he's got to get a stack there with Allen. Yeah, no, I don't mind it. We'll see what he does. We'll see if I mind. I guess I don't know yet. I can't decide.
Like he's super thin, but we're trying to beat 600,000 people. You know.
Do we want to double up with Tank Dell, or?
I would again just for the same reason.
I would too. Yeah, that's getting Tank Dell 5 picks past ADP. Get the double stack.
Yeah. And then another philosophy that I have is like, I am all about stacking kind of as much as possible. John Boy Beats, who you had on, really sharp guy. He just quickly in a Twitter comment was just mentioned how he thinks people overstack. And I found that very interesting. And then we actually talked about it a little bit. And I wasn't, not that his argument, I don't think his argument was as, he wasn't like trying to make such a strong point as I took it. Okay. But there are other sharp people who just stack like crazy. And for me, and you were as a DFS player, here's my stacking thing. So when DFS started, right, people were not stacking enough, correct?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
In general. So in these underdog dailies, generally speaking, in the beginning, people were not stacking enough. So it's almost like I kind of just think that in general, people overestimate their ability to like get everything right, and just instead of just leaning into one team and
right.
If they
correlating,
if they put up 13 runs, then you win. And if no one puts up more than 10 runs that day, you're going to lose. But you're not trying to hit a parlay, long shot parlay.
Right.
So my other thing with stacking is like we have 18 spots. So let's say I do have 7 Texans, which is probably impossible, but just for the sake of the argument, if I have 7 Texans, I don't need them all to hit my lineup. But if that game is a 56-51 shootout, I have all 7. I have 7 Texans. Yeah. Like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there are limitations on how far I will stack, but I am very pro large stack. So I'm not usually trying to go for seven players from one team, but like definitely not opposed to getting 4, sometimes 5 players from a team. I think that's kind of my max. I don't think I'd ever go more than like 5, and maybe not even 5. Like that's what, quarterback.
7 was back, absolutely overstating. 7 was overstating.
Yeah.
maybe 5.
Yeah. 5 to me is like the very high end, and it's not something I'll do very often, but maybe occasionally I'll try 5. Because can you think of any seasons where you would want 5 players or more than 5 players from the same team?
I mean, Miami last year was
That's actually a good point. That's 5 right there. I mean,
Yeah.
you got Hill, Waddle, both running backs, Achane and Mostert, and Tua. I think were all pretty good hits last year.
I mean, if you had certain, I guess Cup wasn't a great pick last year, but just there's ways for it to work out. But again, I'm not trying to win the regular season prize. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think you definitely don't want 7. I mean, as you said, 7 is overstating it, but like you definitely don't want 7 from the same team in week 17. Like that's like you say, you only need 8 of your players to hit the spot. So like if you get some of them super late, maybe that's okay to just like blanket, like with the Patriots. If you take a bunch of Patriots on your team, maybe it's okay to blanket the later rounds, but you don't want to spend like a ton of draft capital on 7 players from one team because you need some of your early players.
You know why the number 7 went into my head was because I like to do 7 from a game. That's
okay.
more.
I like, that makes more sense.
3. And now it's just like, all right, if I make this final, if I get so lucky to make this final, like I am watching that game. You know what I mean?
Oh, hell yeah. Of course. All right. So we have Breece Hall, Drake London, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell. All right. By ADP, Dalton Kincaid is the next pick. Correlates with Breece Hall. We could do that.
Keenan Allen or Dalton Kincaid for me here pretty easily.
All right. What should we do? We already saw. I say we just go Dalton Kincaid because Pitts just went.
Yeah. Fine.
Yeah, I think that works. Now the question is, do you think we try to push CJ Stroud?
Let me see the board again. Let me see the ADP again, please.
This is by ADP.
So when will be our next pick after?
Our next pick will be 81.
Yeah, I say we try to push it. I mean, it's up to you, but I would try to push it.
All right, let's see who.
Yeah, let's see who's there. If Keenan Allen's there,
Nico Collins. Oh, Nico Collins is on this side of the board. So if he doesn't take CJ Stroud, then nobody on this side of the board has incentive to take him. That doesn't mean they won't, but they don't have incentive to. So
do we have a lot of badges here? Not really.
We only have 4 badges in the entire draft. We are getting into casual season.
See, so now just talking about the 12 hole, we were just talking about him. He took James Cook. Like to me, you started with something that was super thin, but I think you could have maybe, and you take James Cook.
And then you take, I mean, yeah.
You can't do that. Imagine you just took, anyway.
All right. So this is by ADP. We're at 0131.
There's some news on Jaden Reed, right? I mean, I like Hopkins.
He's on the pup, but he should practice soon. I mean,
his price will probably go down a little bit. I like Hopkins.
I'm good with Hopkins. All right. What's chat up to? I feel like I stopped. I was talking to chat and then I stopped. I agree. And when teams are doing those structures, drafters aren't doing it optimally by cutting cold turkey on those types of drafts. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of an issue. Here, I'm going to move you up to the top. So when I put the words on the screen, it's not covering you. If Palmer, Shakir, or Sutton have an amazing season, these unique double RB starts will have so much leverage over wide receiver avalanche builds. Maybe. Yeah. I mean, wide receiver avalanche, sure.
I saw that tweet, or there were like 2 or 3 tweets in that talking about that exact area of the draft and why those players matter. But I mean, maybe this is dumb, but like what happens if I just get the 13th and 14th round pick guy? You know what I mean? And those guys have huge seasons. Like, why does it have to be in that one range? Right. And the other thing is, I love Josh Palmer this year.
Do you? Yeah, I'm pretty in. He's gotten to the point now where I don't love him anymore. Like I loved him at like 131, 132, whatever. When you could just like go Palmer, Justin Herbert back to back, or I think it was 132, 133 is like you get those back to back picks, and it was just like clockwork. Just like, yeah, I'm taking that tandem right there. Now he's like around pick 100. He's often going, and I'm like, okay, I think he's fine, but I know I don't love him anymore at his current price. Are you still like super into it?
I wouldn't say I'm super into it, but he's just an easy click there. Like the receivers dry up like right around here.
True.
And then I don't see much that big a difference. I mean, Christian Watson's a whole different story, but honestly, my main take is like, I'd rather have Palmer than Ladd McConkey. Like I think Ladd McConkey has
straight up. You would?
Yeah. I mean, I think,
okay.
Now that doesn't mean I'll never draft McConkey. I will just so have some exposure, but I think Lad McConkey is the worst pick on the board. I do.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, or was. He's actually fallen a little bit.
So what is your reason for hating the Lad?
So his prospect profile was pretty bad, and I don't think ever had 800 yards in college, and I do film stuff, and I'm qualified to do film stuff.
Yeah.
So, and I write articles and all that. So Lad didn't look very good against Alabama. So I started talking to somebody about that, and they said, well, he was hurt. So basically, the excuses for Lad not producing is that he's hurt and he was on Georgia and all this other stuff. Well, first of all, Brock Bowers had no problem producing in a run-heavy offense where they were always blowing people out. And then I watched the Alabama game, and he did not look very good against those pro-level athletes. So they said he was hurt. So what we're saying is a smaller type receiver is now not going to get hurt in the NFL. Like, to me, that's not a good excuse. You don't want a guy who was injured. Now, he's completely healthy now. The draft capital thing was big. So I'm willing to be wrong on this, but I didn't think he was that great a prospect. And I don't know if he even plays outside in the pros. And if he's not playing outside in that offense, and he's just a slot, we're talking about the 6th round. If you're trying to sell me on I'm in the 9th or 10th round redraft, he's going in the 6th, 7th round. That's ridiculous. Over Brian Thomas makes no sense.
Yeah, so I draft a good amount of Lad. I have been sold on Lad, but I do typically take Brian Thomas before Lad. I feel like he has been falling in my ranks a little bit because I've been steaming up Christian Watson a little bit. I always loved Deontay Johnson. So I hear you. I'm not totally Lad pilled, but I do draft a fair amount of Lad still, just betting on that, vacant targets essentially. Being fed by Justin Herbert feels good, but I am not. Oh man, CJ Stroud goes completely unstacked. All right, we go Najee Harris here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Najee guy. I like Najee.
All right, and then I'll sort by ADP also just to make sure we're not. Do you like Najee better than Ramondre?
I do.
Okay.
Do we have any correlation elsewhere? No, not really. Because our correlation's Baltimore and Jacksonville's all gone. So yeah, you got Najee here.
All right. Good pick.
So yeah.
That was a bummer, man.
Yeah,
that is the downside to having the non-badges across your room.
Right.
It's just so unpredictable. Just people taking unstacked quarterbacks.
But I mean, I think, and I've heard this philosophy as well, like it's worth it. You got 150 shots at it. It's worth it to try to push it and see if you can build a monster.
Yeah, I think that's generally true to try to push it.
Especially where we were, like there's going to be iterations of our start with Stroud at 81 or whatever we had,
Yeah, true. And if you like the player, so who do we take? We took DeAndre Hopkins instead of Stroud there. So the option would have been DeAndre Hopkins and Stroud potentially, or Stroud and I don't know what wide receivers, Jameson Williams. Like you feel way better about DeAndre Hopkins than Jameson Williams. So that was the 1v1 in that spot. So yeah, I think that we probably made the right call. Just didn't work out.
Yeah.
All right. So now we.
Well, here's Palmer. What is this? The 8th round?
Yeah, this is the 8th round.
It's too high. This is why Hopkins was necessary,
Yeah. We are in a sea of running backs here.
Yeah.
Anybody that you particularly like here? Here's the ETR ranks. They do have Palmer at 90 in their ranks.
I would say Palmer if you want a receiver. Otherwise, I mean, I'm fine with. I don't have much for Ramondre, but it's okay. And then I don't mind Swift.
Let's go Ramondre.
That works. Is that the best ADP value? That's
yeah. Yep. He was the top of the ADP values. I'm not buying into Swift a ton. I feel like he's been falling, so I'm like kind of taking Swift where he falls because he's just been pretty frequently there, like in the mid 90s for me. So I'm less inclined to reach for him just because you can usually get him a little bit later. This is a good point. I am a Luke McCaffrey bull as well. I did see Jewish McCaffrey not take Luke McCaffrey in the last draft we did together. So maybe not the bull he claims to be. Let's get unique today. Absolutely, we are getting unique a little bit. We're getting hurt a little bit by people sniping our quarterback, but doing well. Jewish McCaffrey, yeah, Jewish McCaffrey maxed today. He posted his exposures today on Twitter
BBM
after maxing out BBM. Yep,
jealous.
he's a madman.
I got to check that out. I didn't see his exposures.
Oh, is KP Minnow in here? Is this somebody we know? D Lutomsky is drafting with us. KP Minnow, I don't think I saw him in chat, but he's drafting with us. Man, look at this run on running backs. Oh, he says he was talking about cannabis. All right, he has the strain. CMC 103 on average. What does that mean?
Last year, he's probably talking.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I am so far behind in chat. I'm 20 minutes behind. All right.
I see Disbanded Brotherhood saying Lat could go 402. He's right. He could.
402. That would be bad. That would be bad.
That means he's just not starting to start the season basically, or just the slot, and they run a lot or whatever. I mean, that's very low end, but I think it's well within the range of outcomes that he's just not that good of a pro, and I don't think anyone wants to admit that. And I think people are like overestimating like literally the same clips over and over again. And again, he does not have many stats. So the one clip of him outside running a certain route, and it's just like over and over again. And yes, he won a route outside. I get it. That doesn't mean he's going to be able to line up there in the NFL and like excel. And that's what we need in the 6th freaking round of a fantasy draft.
Yeah. Who is this? Jeff pointed out, I think the 4 spot tried to get all 4 Eagles in the first 4 rounds. It's pretty rare that you can get Devontae Smith these days at whatever would have been picked 28. So yeah, you're probably right that he was trying to do that, but it's just unlikely that you're going to get Devontae Smith at 28 these days. So I think settling for 3 is a pretty good start there. And then he made fun of us. He said, we talk up robust RB and then build it. That's exactly what we did. We talked it up and then we built our hero. But it was fault. Like this is the way the draft was falling to us. We just didn't want to reach on running backs around early.
I mean, I don't know if it's true, but like people labeled robust RB or hyper fragile and all that. Like, what's it called when you take 2? Like just do what makes sense in your room.
Yeah.
With 2 running backs rather than 1. I just that was my initial thought with the tweet that I sent out that a lot of people agreed with. But my thing is, I think it's 6 running backs, maybe 7, that ends with Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry could rush for 20 touchdowns this year.
Oh yeah,
shouldn't shock anyone. Kyron Williams. Right. Oh, sorry, we're on the clock. Yeah. I would take Jaden Daniels. Oh, I like Lockett. I would take Jaden Daniels for the Drake
Atlanta. Yeah. Okay. So Jaden Daniels over Lockett or Rashid Shaheed. I'm good with that. I like Jaden Daniels. We kind of got locked out of the quarterback we were going for early. So I'm cool with that. Yeah. Jaden Daniels is fun. Are you drafting Jaden Daniels as a 2 quarterback build or a 3 quarterback build quarterback this year?
So another thing I've been trying to do is as many 3 quarterback builds as possible. I think it was Leone, somebody really smart. I forget who it was, or multiple people were talking about how 3 quarterbacks are more viable than the field's doing, and it just makes sense. And my point is just, I want 3 big stacks or 3 stacks, and then if I show up in that final, I have 3 correlations, and I know you don't have that running back dart throw or whatever if you're using it on a quarterback, but I just like the idea of knowing what I need and just having that extra correlation. So I'd like to build 3 quarterbacks. We're okay at receiver. I mean, we're going to have to do a couple here, but if we're not behind at receiver, I'd love to go 3 quarterbacks, in general.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we kind of got put in a situation that's the downside to doing what we did with the 2 early Houston guys and pushing quarterback, is that now we're like, all right, we used up those 2 spots, not on a quarterback. Now we need to like sort of figure out back stacks, but we can figure it out. We can go Brian Robinson as our correlation with Jaden Daniels. Anybody else you like here?
I'd rather Gabe. What is that? Is that ADP?
This is ADP.
Wow, Gabe is that low?
Oh, Gabe is pretty low in ADP. Yeah.
Okay, then Brian Robinson's fine, I guess.
Yeah, we might be able to get Gabe too.
Those were ETR ranks or your ranks?
These are the ETR ranks.
And they had Gabe that high?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's like a deal breaker or anything, but Brian Robinson, I don't know if season long is fine, but like for a weekly ceiling, I think Eckler's probably better than Robinson for Jaden Daniels. You know what I mean? Because each of them just relies on rushing touchdowns so much.
Oh yeah, because Eckler is the more receiving back. It'll be interesting to see how much Jaden Daniels actually throws to his running backs this year. Hopefully, we'll get some receiving work out of Brian. Yeah, he had like one or two games last year where he was actually targeted a little bit, and it was like promising that he might actually be the receiving back. But I think the fact that they signed Eckler probably means they're not going to be using Brian Robinson as the receiving back so much this year. So yeah, you're probably right. He's a better correlation there.
Do you like Eckler this year?
I like him where he goes. Yeah, I think he's a pretty good pick at ADP. Which, like, I'm not a huge Eckler bull, but yeah, pick 130. Like, I think he's a pretty good bet there. Again, he was first round pick last year. Like, I think again we talk about like everybody remembering a single play. That's Eckler is like the poster boy for everybody remembering Eckler getting caught from behind. We all have that just like in our brains when we're drafting. It's like, I don't want that dusty guy. Like, what's the upside there? You can't possibly run for more than 10 yards on a play, which is obviously not true. So, I think he's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Are you a big Eckler fan?
Not big, but the guy was going what pick last? Jewish McCaffrey can tell us what pick last year was he going? 105, like, right. And now he's going in the 150s, 160s. Like an NFL team signed him to be on their roster. Like he can definitely still catch the ball. I mean, is he completely done? Then he's completely done. And like I burned a 13th, 14th round pick. It's like,
right.
If he's not completely done, like he could be. And what I think he was dealing with an ankle all year, something like he's old and that's not good. And I get that, but this is a guy who's defied the odds his entire career. I mean, it took me years to be in on him because he was an undrafted free agent and I can't get over that stuff.
Right.
So he's a great player. I mean, I don't know how much they gave him off the top of my head, but like, I don't think he's going to be cut. I think he's a good compliment to Brian Robinson. So I do like Eckler. I think he's super cheap. And again, a guy who's shown a ceiling, solid player, receiving, and he's punched in from the goal line as well.
Yeah. Javonte finally goes. I was thinking like if Javonte falls far enough, then I'm going to be in on Javonte, I think. All right. So this is ADP once again. Let's see, do we have any other quarterbacks we want to take here? Could go Kirk, or maybe he might have went. Here is the ranks. We could go Gabe Davis here.
I go Gabe just for you got the correlation, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
And we need another receiver.
Yeah, certainly has the upside there as well. I like that pick. This is an interesting point. Jewish McCaffrey says, I think the one mistake people make is drafting as if they genuinely do need to be the top team out of 600,000. That is a good point because that is not how this contest works. There's no point in the contest where you're actually playing against 600,000. It's not like DFS where you just like you need to absolutely crush this week. It's like the biggest contest you're in is week 17, and it's like 500 teams in there. You really don't need to beat 600,000. So that is a very good point there by Jewish McCaffrey.
Right. And that would lead me to like, all right, I'm just going to draft the way all the sharp people on these streams are drafting. And then my portfolio will be plus EV. And then hopefully I run like the sun.
Right.
But I still just have the competitive part of me is just like, I want to beat them or something. I don't know,
Yeah, no, I hear that. I think
like I want to do something different. I don't just want to sit there and
a lot of us come from like DFS where being contrarian really pays off, like in these big contests where in DFS, I mean, you sometimes are playing against 200,000 people in that contest. Like you have to beat 200,000 people on that day, or sometimes there have been contests with 1 million people. So then you really do need to go full galaxy brain. This is a little bit of a different contest.
And you're not playing against 600,000 people at the same time, but when you're playing those 500, it is a good thing to have a unique structure at that point. Just to push back a little bit on. All right, so here.
So I think we go Kirk here. I guess we only have the single stack with Drake London.
Kirk or Dotson?
Oh, good point. Yeah, maybe we close up the one stack we do have.
I think we do. Kirk's great and everything, but like,
you're right.
We got a single stack of Kirk with right. We don't have a second Falcon with Drake London. I'd rather just play the other side of the game.
Yep. That's
so
good
now,
call.
This is the story, right? So we're in the finals, and it's Jaden Daniels is getting hot at the end of the year, and he throws 2 to Dotson, and maybe we throw 1 to Brian Robinson, and Drake London's the guy on the other side.
Yep. No, that was a good call. And then KP Minnow, I didn't realize the player right after us had a double stack there with Bijan and Kyle Pitts, so I'm sure he's grateful. If you're in the marathon or the sprint where you really do need to be the top team out of thousands and thousands of odd teams, then uniqueness is so much more important. True. Yep.
I can't even do. My brain is not doing the marathon. Like I'm just not doing it. I can't switch gears that much.
The marathon is the one that is full 17 weeks, right? You're just like in a big pod with everybody.
Yep.
I mean, it's just what drafters has been for years.
Right.
So I've never been good at that format. It's not a format I've had success in, but
I just feel like I've consumed so much content and read all the manifestos and all this to win those week 17 tournaments. And there's plenty of them. I'd rather just play as many of those as possible. Cause I think, if I have an edge, it's in those. The sprint is intriguing because I think that's like a $50 price point, which is great. That's intriguing to me. But my problem with that is I don't have 15 and 16 games memorized. So I feel like that's kind of, you kind of need to have those, when those round robin deals, like I think that's kind of the key to that contest.
Yeah. Rabona, I see your comments now. I am just catching up. I'm still way behind in comments. So we're going to try to catch up. I'm sorry, not trying to ignore you guys, just still like 20 minutes behind in chat or something. So just we'll get there. Yeah, this is a good point. You're never, once you get to those later weeks, never thinking, I'm so glad I only have 3 running backs. I'm the only one with 3 running backs here. It doesn't really help you. Those unique structures, like people seem to think it does with the weird structures, not in the way that we were talking about earlier with like different, going running back early, but like the 3 running backs or the 1 quarterback build, whatever, like really does not give you the edge, I don't think, at any point in the contest. So I'm with you. Kincaid-erade. Yeah, we got Kincaid. Why Hopkins over Ridley? I just think Hopkins is a lot better than Ridley. Like Hopkins is a much more efficient player, and I think he's going to be the guy who gets the targets. Do you have different reasoning, Andrew?
Hopkins is a better player. Ridley is overrated.
He had one great season, and it was a great season, but he's just not on the same level as Hopkins. All right, do we want to take? We only have 1 out currently at quarterback.
And we should prioritize that out. I mean, we could go
Leggett and give ourselves an additional out.
I'm fine with that.
Or Wandale.
I was going to ask who do you prefer between those 2?
I think Leggett.
Okay.
But I don't feel that strongly about it.
Yeah, and my thing about Wandale is like, I just feel like if that's the game you need, it'll be Jonathan Taylor or Anthony Richardson or Neighbors. You know what I mean? If we're going to correlate him.
Yeah. Here's a crazy concept. How we draft the best team possible instead of race to draft the most wide receivers in the first half of the draft. I think that taking a lot of receivers early is the way to draft the best team possible. That's why I do it. It's not trying to prove a point, not trying to be like everybody else. It's just the way the drafts go. I think the running backs in rounds 7 through 11, 7 through 12 are just leagues better than the wide receivers available in those rounds. So I think ultimately that's the best way to draft the best team possible. Is not by always taking the best player at that pick. It's trying to build the best structure. So that is the reason that a lot of us like to take a lot of 0 RB teams. All right, so we gave ourselves one more out. We're now at 1471. Do you want to just get one of our quarterbacks, or?
I mean, this is gross, but I don't mind Thielen.
Do we want an 8th receiver, though? Do you think we need it?
We don't need it. I mean, we're going to need 2 tight ends. Yeah. What were you going to say? I mean, Hubbard makes sense, I guess. Or just
Will
go
Levis
now. Yeah, go Levis now. That's fine.
Yeah, let's get Levis.
Because we have Hopkins. That's fine. So like, to me, I would feel good about this team just in that week 17 thing. Pat Kerrane, obviously super sharp. He, in one of the many things I've consumed of his, he just talked about that week 17 thing, and it's really so true. You have to draft as if you know for a fact that that's the game that, like, those guys are going off in that game.
Oh, yeah.
And once you do that, and he was just so adamant about it, I was like, yeah, that has to be the way you do it. So I could see a world where either of our games pop off and we have the pieces that you need. Is it thin? Yeah. Of course it's thin. We're trying to beat not 600,000, 500 people.
Yeah, exactly.
But Levis, Hopkins with Gabe Davis catching 2 60-yard touchdowns, that's fine.
Yeah. All right, we got to the question. Talk about the Cowboys running back situation. What's the deal? When will we get news? Hopefully soon. Hopefully we should know what what other teams in the league are going to do, if any other teams are going to cut anybody. But training camp has started. We should be getting Cowboys news soon. I don't know how. Nobody knows, to be honest, when we're going to get the news, but it should be pretty soon. I think we're going to get an idea. We're going to start hearing rumblings about who is between Zeke and Rico Dowdle. Like, is one of them running with the ones, the other isn't? I think that's the biggest thing we're looking for. We'll hear, who's a quarterback targeting, who is looking good in camp. We're going to hear all that, but then we're also going to have to wait and hear, like, are the Broncos going to cut one of their running backs? Is one of their running backs then going to end up on the Cowboys? And there are a number of situations like that around the league where we don't even know if it's going to be Zeke and Dowdle when the season comes. Now, I've drafted a ton of Dowdle in particular and some Zeke. But yeah, the answer is we don't really know yet, but it should be coming soon because training camp has started. Do you have anything to add to that, Andrew?
I don't like Dowdle much. I mean, why would we think that Dowdle is going to be someone that you would need?
Says the guy who faded Austin Eckler for years.
Yeah, right. That's like, there's no pedigree there. Like, he showed a little
same kind of thing. That's what you're hoping.
Except for. Austin Eckler's Austin Eckler,
Yeah. I mean, we're hoping that Rico Dowdle, because obviously it's unlikely that he does become the same talent as Austin Eckler. But that's the dream.
So if I had to bet on one of them, it would be Zeke. I'm not super enthusiastic about 29-year-old Zeke either. I do think it's a coin flip that they're not necessarily their starting running back in week 1, but a running back that will get like a lot of carries for them is not on the roster yet.
Yeah, it's definitely not unlikely. All right, it is our pick. Do we go with Bryce here, or?
Yes. Unless you have somebody. We just need a second tight end.
I'm good with Bryce.
Do we need a running back? We need one running back probably, right?
Yeah. I mean, we've got a pretty good top 4, but
can you
definitely need at least one. The running backs are available. Yeah. So this is by ADP. It's Khalil Herbert, Braylon Allen, Tyrone Tracy, Roshan, CEH.
So, I mean, I do want to stay on if you'll have me for the second draft, but we did not see my favorite player. I never saw him. We never had a chance at him, which is interesting.
Are you not going to mention it until the second draft?
It's Ray Davis. So
okay.
Which, again, this is my DFS brain. Like, I don't like taking running backs from opposing week 17 games.
Yeah, so. I'm not a huge fan of that either. Yeah, that's funny. We never saw him on the board. I guess we were too busy taking quarterbacks there.
Yeah.
We could go tight end here. Also, Kate Otten, I guess, would be a bring back to our Carolina stack.
I like that. I mean, did you see? I think it was Josh Norris talking up Tommy Tremble.
I did see that. Yeah.
That's the type of thing and that I like to do, just because no one else is going to do it. Like, very few people are going to do that. I'm not saying to take him here, but you leave that as your out of your second tight end, then we'd have a double stack. Like, I'm fine with something like that. I like Kate Otten, though. That's fine too.
Oh, did you want to wait for Tommy Tremble? I mean, we could
That
take
was
both.
just an idea. I really don't have a preference. Kate Otten's fine.
Okay, I mean, we could go John O. Smith here and then have a different, and then take Tommy Tremble late because they have different bye weeks.
I love
right.
John.
You love Johnu?
I love Johnu. Take Johnu.
All right. We got Johnu.
Johnu might be my third or fourth highest exposed player so far.
Yeah.
I think his price is absurd. I mean, the guy was getting targets and carries and everything over Kyle Pitts last year. We're taking Kyle Pitts in the fifth round. And I love Kyle Pitts, but point is, like, clearly this guy is very talented. I mean, he was good on the Titans, and Mike, that's the offense you want a guy like John Smith in, because he's going to utilize him to his strengths. And I guarantee you he gets a jet sweep for a touchdown. I guarantee it.
And Mike McDaniel said straight up, like, what you saw last year is not necessarily what you're going to see this year. And last year they didn't really use the tight end. A lot of us interpreted that as like, yeah, it's probably going to be using Johnu a little bit more this year. Yeah, he's one of my favorite late round tight ends. Also, I'm pretty in on Johnu. If you have CMC, HN, Kyron, and Rashad, I'd be feeling good about my chances in week 15 and 16. Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you can get to the playoffs with those running backs and your receivers surprise you, definitely that's definitely a group that you can feel pretty good about. Yeah, Lad Price. Yeah, I've gone more in the direction of taking more Lad and less Palmer, just because for a while it was Lad was where he is, about now. He hasn't really moved that much, whereas Palmer has moved up 30 picks. So now I'm taking a little bit more Lad at cost, but definitely would not shock me at all if Josh Palmer is just the wide receiver one there. So yeah, I hear you. Have you guys gotten the full Texan stack in BBM? And if yes, how many would you say you have? I have not in BBM. I think I have done it in like puppy type drafts, like low dollar drafts. I've done the full Texan stack. But yeah, definitely have not done it in BBM because that's more of I experiment more in the non-BBM drafts, I guess. And that's the kind of thing that, like, I don't think it's going to be what you want, the full on Texan stack. It's fun to try it here and there, but I think that's more the kind of thing that I like to do in a low dollar draft. Have you done it anywhere?
Me? No, I haven't. I wasn't targeting the Texans. One of the things I didn't love, first of all, I did not like Stroud's price in the beginning. I mean, it was too high.
Yeah.
And I think you want to lean into uncertainty with the three receivers, but like, I have no idea. They're all really good. I mean, my Tank Dell concern is the size with the injury. Like, this is why he is a risk, is exactly how he got hurt. Like, he literally got hurt because he's too small. There's a reason why those types of players are an injury risk at that size. So he's a little bit sketchy to me. And Diggs, I mean, you already talked about that. I mean, I like Diggs. And then Nico, again, I have a problem with the draft capital thing. It takes me a year. It takes me a year to believe.
Yeah.
I know he's very good, and I actually liked him coming out a little bit. But he had a couple of bad pro seasons, unproductive.
Just one, right? Did he have two?
I think his rookie. I think last year was his third year, so I think his rookie and his second year were both.
Yeah, you might be right.
Well under 500 yards, I think. So it's tough. Again, just for that price.
All right, we need a running back. I normally am auto estimate all day here, but we do have 2 week 14 buys at running back already.
I like Clyde.
I like Clyde too. Yeah, let's go Clyde for the different bye week. And then we can still consider estimate in the 18th if he comes back.
So what do we have here? Do we have a
3-5-7-2? So we have Jaden Daniels, Will Levis, Bryce Young at quarterback. At running back, Breece Hall, Najee Harris, Ramondre Stevenson, Brian Robinson, CEH. Wide receiver Drake London, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, DeAndre Hopkins, Gabe Davis, Jahan Dotson, Xavier Legette. Tight end Dalton Kincaid and Jonnu Smith. I feel like we could be done at tight end with those two. I think.
Oh yeah, I would say we paid that much for Kincaid. We're done at tight end for sure.
I kind of wanted either Chig or Tyler Boyd to come back. Usually you can get Tyler Boyd in the 18th. Boyd went already. So we are out on our Tennessee. I'm not really in on Burks.
I was going to ask that.
Yeah,
no, I haven't taken him once.
all of the talk of him like being a kick returner, I'm like, I don't love that.
What are we looking at here? What are we looking at here? What rankings are these?
These are the ETR ranks. Here is ADP.
Okay. Well, I love Rondale Moore. Rondale Moore is my second most exposed player. And he was the second one on ETR ranks, which I find very, very interesting. I mean, and he's in our game.
Okay.
He's in our Washington game.
So we do a 3-5-8-2 build. This is a little bit different than I think I usually do. 3-5-8-2. Certainly within like every position is within like the number that I try to hit with each position. But I feel like I don't land on the 3-5-8-2 build, but I like it. We will go over the team as soon as the draft ends. It'll refresh. Then we'll be able to do it. All right. Thank you, Sean. And so Sean says, Neil, your questions and great guest should get thousands of views. Hit the like and subscribe button. Let's reach his goal. Appreciate that, Sean. That is a good. Actually, I should throw the banner up there. Let me edit this real quick because I think I added a few. Yep. This is the goal. 2,000 subscribers. We're at 1816. Would appreciate if any of you are not already subscribed. Would appreciate the subscription. Trying to get to 2,000 by the NFL season. So yeah, please do like and subscribe. Comment on the video if you have anything to add as well. Appreciate that comment. Let's see. Talked about Dowdle. Yep. We all agree. We all agree with the Jaden. That was fun. That was a good save for us. What up, Bindles? Good to see you. Rabona doesn't think Eckler is going to get past week 5. I mean, he did look pretty dusty. I guess it wouldn't be that shocking. Okay, yeah, he started at 112 last year and picked around. That was kind of what I thought. He was a late first round pick last year.
Let me see how much money he got.
Anthony thinks he's got that chip on his shoulder. I mean, Eckler, he's also a fantasy player. Like we know that about Eckler, that he does care. Like he is a fantasy player himself. He cares. Like he wants to, be good for the people who drafted him. I think like he is the kind of guy. He's going to give it everything he has. Whether he has anything is the question. I think with Eckler. So yeah, I think it's a good bet. I think at ADP now.
2 years, 11 mil. I mean. My thing with like paying a running back, and I guess I should find out exactly how much is guaranteed. But if you're like using cap space on a running back, like you're going to use him. It's the least important position on the field, and he's 29 or whatever, however old he is.
Yeah. All right, that is number 83 for me. Let's see. Oops. Where do I edit? Up here. I'm just going to do it right now. I usually just save it, but I'm just going to put it in here. And then we'll take a look at our team. If any of you draft with us and want us to sauce you, let me know. We'll take a look at your team as well. Before we get in, I'm just going to catch up to chat just so I can stop feeling stressed out about being so far behind. We're going to catch up real quick on chat. JMC is a legend. That is true. JMC is a legend. Appreciate you, JMC. Ravana says 3 running backs and knowing Estimate still on the board is a beautiful feeling. That is true. I always love having Estimate at the back. It always pains me when I realize, like, from a bye week standpoint, I'm like, man, I have too many week 14 buys and I really want to take Estimate, but I think it's probably more prudent to take somebody else who's like around the same, in the same tier. Like CEH, you can make a pretty good argument that he's in the same tier as Estimate, but yeah, love late round Estimate. Yeah, this is what we're talking about. Is some people have made the argument that you should be drafting just like 3 running backs, and I think that's just wrong. I don't think there's any week where it's better to have 3 running backs than 4 or more. Like I don't think it is a good idea to draft just 3 running backs. Agreed with this. Herbert to Cowboys. That would be like, generally I don't want any running back to go to the Cowboys because I do have a lot of Rico Dowdle and some Zeke. But if it is Khalil Herbert, Jewish McCaffrey and myself will both be into it because I do have a ton of Khalil Herbert also, so I would be into that. Yeah, Pitts was hurt last year. I am drafting him as though he's healthy this year. Are you drafting a lot of Pitts this year, Andrew?
I want to, but I don't think I have yet. I don't know why. Like I just haven't gotten there. I'll be over 8% though.
Min O. That was my first BBM. Did you want the sauce? Dulu Tomsky wants sauce. All right, we're going to start with our team, and then we will go over at least Dulu Tomsky. Minnow, let us know if you want us to sauce your team as well. All right, we'll start with ours. We end up with Jaden Daniels, Will Levis, Bryce Young at quarterback. At running back, we have Brees Hall, Najee Harris, Ramondre Stevenson, Brian Robinson, CEH. At wide receiver, Drake London, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, DeAndre Hopkins, Gabe Davis, Jahan Dawson, Xavier Legette, Rondell Moore. At tight end, Dalton Kincaid and Jonnu Smith. So we end up with Jaden Daniels with Brian Robinson and Jahan Dotson. We have bringbacks of Rondell Moore and Drake London. We've got Will Levis with DeAndre Hopkins. We have the bringback of Gabe Davis. And then we have Bryce Young with Xavier Legette. We have the bringback. Oh, no, we did not go K-Dot. So we don't have a bringback on that one. But we have 2 full game stacks. Ultimately, even though we got, sniped on our quarterback, things didn't go exactly according to plan. I feel like we pulled it off. How do you feel about this one, Andrew?
I like it. It's just so dependent on those 3 quarterbacks, and those 3 quarterbacks could also be like the 3 worst quarterbacks in the league. But that's all it takes is, one of them to have a crazy week, and then Jaden Daniels actually being a fantasy breaker, which I definitely think he can be. But they're thin. Like looking at those guys compared to we were going to have C.J. Stroud and Kirk Cousins,
Mm-hmm.
But I'm fine with it. I think 3 QB builds are what I'm trying to aim for. Basically, as many of them as possible. That makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think we pulled it off. It's not my favorite team ever, but also I could totally see this one advancing. I could see it doing some damage. We're correlated well. Yeah, job well done indeed. All right, Dulu Tomsky. Goes with Justin Herbert, Aaron Rodgers, and J.J. McCarthy at quarterback. At running back, Jonathan Taylor, Aaron Jones, Alvin Kamara, Devin Singletary, Austin Eckler. Wide receiver, Garrett Wilson, George Pickens, Amari Cooper, Rashee Rice, Rashid Shaheed, Wan'Dale Robinson, Malachi Corley, DJ Chark. Tight end, George Kittle, TJ Hawkinson. So he's got Justin Herbert with DJ Chark. Right? And then does he have any New England bringbacks? No New England bringbacks. He's got Aaron Rodgers with Garrett Wilson and Malachi Corley. Does he have any Buffalo? No Buffalo. And then he's got J.J. McCarthy with TJ Hawkinson. How do you feel about this tight end room? Kittle and Hawkinson.
Kittle's my highest exposed tight end, so I can't hate it. Hawkinson, again, like he should be a bad pick because he just got injured, like recently.
They say that he's coming along faster than expected, for what it's worth.
Yeah, that's probably not worth much. You know what I mean?
True. That. Yeah. They say that about their own players. Yeah. Oh, he's coming along, speedy recovery. Yeah.
But when you think about Week 17 being all that matters, then sure, TJ Hawkinson is fine. I haven't been drafting much of him. I mean, I just one of the other things that I always think about is return to play does not mean return to performance.
Yep.
And the other reason why I don't love Hawkinson this year is because I am so down on JJ McCarthy. Like I don't like him.
I'm going to kick you from the stream now. It was fun, Andrew. Thanks for coming on.
Watch the Bowling Green game. Watch the Bowling Green game, please, at home.
Yeah, I honestly have not. I've watched highlights. That's all I've watched of JJ McCarthy. I'm a Vikings fan. I'm hoping for the best. I also don't even think that Jaden McCarthy starts the year. I think it's Sam Darnold.
Yep.
And I think that I don't know. I think Sam Darnold might be better than we're giving him credit for, is all I'll say. I don't have really high hopes. I've been burned by Sam Darnold before, but I think he might be better in a good system than he has been in the past. In which case it's going to be, TJ Hawkinson might look better. Who knows if he's still going to be the quarterback by the time TJ Hawkinson comes back. Yeah. I will say I'm a little bit concerned. That's not my favorite tight end pairing, even though I think they're both like Kittle, a great pick at ADP. Hawkinson probably fine at ADP, but just I don't love like Kittle is going to be your only tight end for a good part of the season, and Kittle has such a low floor in the games when he's not scoring that I don't totally love that as a two tight end build. But I mean, if Ayuk gets traded or something, then it's going to be looking pretty good. So overall, I think you did a nice job with this team, Tomsky.
One thing about his team, people might not love Herbert and Chark, but I think that's fine. I actually like doing that.
They are saying DJ Chark probably the wide receiver 3. Like he's going to play in wide receiver three wide receiver sets ahead of Quentin Johnson is what people are saying. So if that happens, I will like it better. I don't totally love it. I guess I would say more like I don't love taking Herbert at that point and risking it, and then not taking a receiver with him until late. But that maybe that's just me being OCD, like just like taking the quarterback who's not much of a running quarterback. He runs a little bit, but mostly not a running quarterback. Unstacked at the point that he took him is.
That's my point. It's completely uncomfortable, but that's the one where I actually do like it because like for example, taking Kirk Cousins and then taking Rondale Moore in the last round, like that's gross. Like I would never do that. For some reason, the Herbert to Chark, based on their prices and just kind of the archetype of player, that's the one that I'm fine with. Even like Bryce Young, like you can't really take Bryce Young and backstack him. Like there's no one there. I don't know why Chark and Herbert is the one that I think it's fine.
Just because Chark has that like splash play potential where it's just like, what if they connect on like a 60-yarder and then a few more, bigger plays? Yeah, so it could work out.
Chark is just such a weird player because he's been on a million teams, but I think it was his second year. He had like a huge season. Like if you're going to get some really weird range of outcomes thing, like where he just hits a crazy dumb ceiling at however many years he's been in the league, like it's that type of guy.
Oh, Minnow did say Sauce. I missed that. Okay, we'll take a look at your team as well. All right, Minnow goes Purdy, Cousins, Penix. So he does the that's interesting. The handcuff quarterback there in Atlanta. He has Bijan, Rashad White, Zach Moss, Zach Charbonnet, Tyler Algier, Roshan Johnson at wide receiver. He has Deebo Samuel, DJ Moore, T. Higgins, Jordan Addison, Dontavian Wicks, Troy Franklin, Jalen McMillan at tight end, Kyle Pitts, and Isaiah Likely. So he's got Purdy with there we go. Purdy with
Deebo.
Is it just Deebo? Yep, just Deebo. Any Detroit, no bring back. And then he has Cousins and Penix paired up with Bijan and Algier. Interesting. And Pitts. So he's got 5 Atlanta players. No Washington bring back. Double quarterback, double running back from the same team. First of all, let's talk about the quarterbacks. How do you feel about Kirk Cousins with Michael Penix handcuffed?
So have you seen this yet?
This handcuff?
Have you seen anyone do this?
I saw Justin Steele do it like 2 nights ago on DraftKings. So I have seen it.
But that's 20 rounds.
That is 20 rounds. That's a good point. I have not seen it in an 18-rounder.
Yeah, I've thought of it. And I like Penix a lot. I've thought about it, but I don't know. It was just one of those things I've never seen, and I don't know if it's going to be necessary just because he's a quarterback. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But again,
I don't hate it. Even an 18-rounder, I don't hate trying it here, just because it's like Cousins. Like there is some injury concern with Cousins, right? Like I'm not totally convinced that Cousins is going to be fully healthy. The worst case scenario for you is Cousins is just good enough. Like he's not classic Cousins, but he's good enough to play, and then he's just like hobbled out there throwing it. That is the really the nightmare scenario if you're handcuffing this. But the dream scenario would be Cousins, plays hurt, and in 4 weeks they just replace him with Penix, and Penix is just awesome. Is the dream.
Yeah, I could see it. I mean, I like anyone who has the guts to do something like this wild. This to me is wild.
Yeah, I mean, and then he does the double running back thing too.
That I probably don't like.
I don't think I like that either, just because you spent so much on Bijan that you're basically making the bet that Bijan stays healthy. Because if Bijan gets hurt, then yeah, you have Algier coming in there, but like
Right.
you're going up against other teams that have Algier with Brees Hall or other round one running backs, wide receivers, whatever, like a healthy round one pick. So you're already hurting there. So I don't totally love that handcuff as much. Agreed.
Yeah, and when you mix it with the second quarterback from the same team, now you've got basically two dead roster spots, regardless, even if you hit what you want.
Yeah. Handcuffing Cousins with Penix feels the way Cousins felt when Penix was drafted. That's a tough one to wrap my head around. Yeah.
I don't know if it's worth doing, especially in 18 rounds. Because, like, to me, the very end of drafts is not that bad in these 18-round drafts. Like, we got Rondale Moore. Like, Rondale Moore is going to play a ton of snaps.
Yeah.
Like, a ton of snaps. Just off – it used to be Estime. I mean, the running backs are going to start popping up. Anyway.
Yeah. We are going to do another draft here. All right. Jewish McCaffrey does not like it, thinks it's a waste of a pick going the handcuff.
I could see it.
It could be. It might be. It's probably not something I'm going to do in Best Ball Mania. It's something that I could do in, a draft where I just like get sniped on every quarterback I want. I don't feel comfortable with my quarterback room in general. I forget who it is. Oh, we had Brock Purdy. Yeah, with Purdy and Cousins, I think you could have left it at 2, and frankly taken Rondale Moore. Did we take Rondale Moore ahead of him? Is that what happened?
Good. Oh, I forgot we were.
We did.
That makes sense.
Oh, we took Rondale Moore ahead of him, so he didn't have that option.
Forget this. I'm taking Penix. Like
you're right. All right, we are going to get into another draft. So if you guys want to draft with us, it's going to be BBM.
Can I grab a drink real quick?
Yeah, go ahead. Maybe I will too.
Yeah.
After I said, or I'll get in and then I'll run and grab a drink. So if you guys want to get in with us, get in now. Oh yeah, we are the first team in. So apologies if anybody got in too early. We will be right back. I'm not going to.
Bobby Witt with 39 fantasy points. Nice.
Got a brand new bottle of Maker's Mark here to open. Oh, God. What'd you grab, Andrew?
I'm drinking vodka lemonades.
Vodka lemonade. All
yes,
right.
Sir.
I also had to add a little ice to my water because it is hot up here. It is. I don't have air conditioning in my office, so it's steamy up here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. All right. It's a safe team if it's one of your only entries. Yeah, I suppose that's true. The Penix handcuff, if you don't want to risk it. All right, we have the 8-hole here. Okay.
Same thing.
Fully loaded. Pretty sure I know, but I can't think of who that is. I see KP Minnow in here again.
Are you like very worried that people are sniping you based on things you do and say on the stream, or you don't care?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can talk about it anyway, but they are like people are often like you'll mention a player and then they get taken ahead of ADP. Like it's just
okay. I got to be aware of that. I'm usually on the other end.
We can still talk about it. Oh,
just
are you in here, John mean Superman? Are you fully loaded? Is that who you are?
I've definitely seen that name a lot.
I know him on Twitter. I don't think I remember that that's who he is on Underdog. Yeah, I mean, it is something to be aware of. Like, I often will like refrain from saying who I want next, whatever. But you can speak freely. Just know that there is certainly that risk.
It's more just like I'll star guys, my quarterback outs, and just have them. Like, for example, when we took Jaden Daniels, I was thinking about Eckler. Like that idea.
Okay. Yep.
Fully loaded here. Fully loaded. Are you play dailies? Is that how I know you? Or I don't know you from drafts, from best balls.
Oh, Tyler. Okay. Yeah. Do we want to go Bijan?
For me, it's Bijan or AJ Brown. And what we talked about earlier, I think we could do here either way.
What did we talk about earlier? Do we talk? You mean the two running backs thing?
Yes.
Let's. We did go Bijan last time.
No, we went Brees.
Oh, we did. Oh, yeah. Let's go Bijan. Let's get something different running back.
Yeah, Bijan, just one of the greatest running backs of all time. Prospects, sorry.
Running back, yeah. That makes sense.
And he's going 108. Like, it's people. The running back prices are crazy in this beginning. They're crazy.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Now I see you. Verderamo, Nick. I see you in there.
He played NBA. Yeah, he played NBA daily.
Okay. Yep. Let's see. I think Rondo will be better than expected. I think there is a good chance he has a better season than Mooney. I think there is too. I think there's a very real chance that Rondo Moore plays ahead of Mooney. Do you take much Mooney, Andrew?
I don't take as much as I want. I like them both. And Mooney's relatively cheap, and Mooney's like a decent player. He's shown to be better than Rondale so far, but Rondale has so much talent, and I don't really care what happened in that Cliff Kingsbury stuff. Yeah. I think he was a fake sharp. Like, I think he sucked. I think Kyler hated him, and we've seen guys not be great in one place, but when you have that pedigree and you were that talented, like the guy was dominating as a freshman at Purdue, it wouldn't shock me. And I think they traded for him, so they want him on their roster. All right.
All right. Here's ADP. We could go Saquon. Your guy Jonathan Taylor went one pick before us. Okay.
I mean, we go receiver here.
Go Olave. We went London in the last one. We go whatever. Do you have a player you like here?
I don't. Olave's fine.
Let's rock and roll.
I hear some spirited debates on Olave, and I like them because he's a weird player. Like, he's weird. I don't know what to think. He's not an alpha, and he wasn't an alpha at Ohio State either. But he's really good, and he can beat you over the top, which is, again, an archetype that I like. Interesting player.
Do you think they're going to throw to him a little bit shorter this year? Like, do you think he does a little bit more on, like, shorter routes? Like,
yeah, that was the take. You're referencing, like, a tweet or someone on a stream mentioned something like that, right, recently?
Maybe the Leone Gretsch. Maybe they talked about how he's the guy who'd be the best suited to do a little bit more, like bring his ADOT down a little bit. I think they talked about it on their stream.
I don't think his I think when a guy gets targeted down the field, like, that's good about his skills. Like, I think he's just not a yak guy, so they're not going to give him, like, the screens, I guess you could say. But I don't. There's nothing about his game that makes him, like, not a good option in the short passing game or quick game. There's just so I think their OC was a little bit shot last year. Mm-hmm. And then who did they get again this year? Now it was Kubiak, I believe.
Let's see.
Saints OC.
Yep, Clint Kubiak.
So we think he's going to be sharper. I think he was a pass game coordinator previously. So yeah, I Olave set up to to do more. I mean, he's not the most physical player. He's kind of always been a finesse guy, but I'm not worried about like the lack of easy buckets, for lack of a better word. I think that was probably more a function of the offense than his skill at all.
Yeah.
And he could beat you over the top. Like that's what you really.
Right.
I'd be far more concerned if it was the opposite. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it would be great if they added in some of the gimmies as well. Like I like players that can do both. Like that is the dream for me is like I think both Olave and Shaheed, like they've both been just like far down the field, A dot long ball threats. If you can just add in a couple more like short receptions per game, just like rack up, two easy fantasy points on two short passes, like yeah, I'll take those free points. Like that's not a bad thing either. But I agree with you. You want the guys who can hit the home runs also. Is the dream. All right, let's see. I don't do any best ball cash. Do you play any best ball cash, Andrew?
No, I don't play anything cash.
Me neither. This is just mean. Don't let the haters get you down. I like strapping on 3 condoms while I draft sometimes too. Just mean. But he kind of did. He kind of did with the double handcuff.
That's not what it is. That's the opposite. That's like taking a very crazy shot.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, it's sort of. It's so unique.
The real ballsy thing would be you just don't take Cousins. You just say
right. All right, so we have Bijan Robinson, Chris Olave.
We can't do it again.
Diggs?
No, I'm saying we can't do it again. I would go DJ Moore. But
okay.
Are the running backs are literally all gone? Derrick Henry's gone?
Yep, Derrick Henry, Kyron Williams.
They must know I'm here. What's going on?
Where did Derrick Henry go? Oh, pick 20. Yep. That is we talked big about our intentions to get a third running back or
Derrick
second
Henry
running back.
went?
Pick 20.
Wait,
the casuals are here. The casuals have arrived. The streets are changing.
Yeah, the casuals are here. That's a good point. Maybe my whole here. Let me count real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. So there's 9 running backs that I think. I don't want to use Pat's phrase of the legendary upside, but they have a strong case to be game breakers in fantasy, like extremely strong.
Yeah.
Where normally all of those guys would be in and around the top of the first round. After Kyron, what he did last year, A-Chain, we know, Taylor already had it, and then Derrick Henry scored 20 touchdowns. Like I kind of want to just have exposure to those guys, and if you can pair up the right 2 of them, like you're gonna. Forget advancing. You're going to advance. You know what I mean? Like if you hit on 2 running backs of those 9, you're advancing without a question. And then it's just how do you build for the playoff weeks after that? You know what I mean? And then you're going to have those guys who smashed all year. I just think that pairing 2 of those guys up and then building sound after that is something that sharp players are not doing enough.
You're probably right that sharp players. I have heard sharp players make the argument for early running backs, so we could be wrong. It might be more content creators. Like all the content creators, for the most part, are 0 RB. I don't think it's like 100%, but like the vast majority. All right, we're back on the clock. This is ADP. Anybody you like here?
I mean, do you want to build it, Josh Allen? I don't really love Josh Allen without the 2 big jets. We have no Dolphin.
T. Higgins would be by the ranks.
Yeah, I like T. Higgins. I do.
All right. Easy. That is a second week 12 bye, so we just have to be mindful of that going forward.
I drafted with you last week or 2 weeks ago, and I was not paying attention to buys, and I had one of the worst buy parlays you could ever see. It was like 5 week 12 buys.
What a nightmare. I would never.
I said the bye week police is outside my house, and you were like, it's me. I'm outside your house.
Yeah. Question for Neil and Andrew. If AJ Brown, Puka, Garrett Wilson all had identical ADPs, how would your exposure look between those 3 guys? I feel like I would have the most of AJ Brown, followed by Puka, followed by Garrett Wilson, probably if they all had the same ADP. which maybe it should be Garrett Wilson over Puka, but I think AJ Brown. I just want to make a bet on that Eagles offense. How do you see it, Andrew?
Do you have an opinion on the Devontae Adams to the Jets thing? Did I recently read that that's like not going to happen?
I don't think it's going to happen. It could, but like,
yeah,
I think it's like a 5% chance to happen.
I think literally this morning I read something that like it's not going to happen. If
I missed that.
And so I was just, and I do this like in a window of time, I just draft as if Devontae Adams is getting traded. So I took a lot of Jacoby Myers. I just didn't take Garrett Wilson at those points. I just did that for like the past week. Today, I think I'm going to go back to just being in on Garrett Wilson. So I would say Wilson, AJ Brown, Puka, pretty clearly for me, cleanly.
Okay. Yeah, you said earlier that you're not really in on Puka this year.
So I'll take him, but I don't want to be at 8%. You know, I'll be 6 or 5 or 6%. But Garrett Wilson is a bargain. It's one of those things that you think about, like process over results. Like Garrett Wilson was playing with quarterbacks that should not have been on.
True. Zach Wilson was throwing him the ball. Yeah.
Like if he just has a competent quarterback, like he's probably going by Chase. And now he has Aaron Rodgers, and they have basically no one else. I mean, unless Mike Williams is back, but even Mike Williams is kind of the perfect complement to Garrett Wilson, to be honest. So I love Garrett Wilson. I think he can have a huge season if Rodgers stays healthy. Huge.
One thing that I think I am learning about you is that you're not just a prove it to me guy. You're a prove it to me at least twice kind of guy. With like Puka Nacua, maybe unless you have the pedigree coming in, maybe that's the exception. Like, unless you came in with high draft capital, you got to prove it over and over. You said it with Austin Eckler. You don't like Puka. I feel like we've had this conversation with some other guys in these drafts also. Would you say that's generally true?
You're onto something, and I'm trying to like not do that. I'm trying not to get so have draft capital and my evaluations prior to the draft so ingrained. I actually did like Puka. But my issue isn't like Puka being good. He's obviously a very good player. Borderline great, whatever you want to throw out terms.
Do you want to go Pitts here for the double stack? I'm also really high on Godwin this year. Anybody else that if you want to do your running back thing, what do you think?
I like Jacobs, but we don't have any Minnesota guys. I like Godwin, but we don't have any Carolina. We could do that again. I mean, do you want another Bryce Young team? And then I do like Pitts. Fine. We might end up with Jane Daniels again, just the worry for you.
I mean, I like Jaden Daniels quite a bit. Okay. But now, if we do Bijan and Pitts, we could also just wait and get Kirk Cousins there. We're heavy on the week 12, so that is something to be cognizant
I feel like I take Godwin a lot because of that. I'm like on week 12. I'm like, oh, he's got week 11. Just take Godwin. I love Godwin this year too.
Yeah, I love him independent of the bye week stuff. Just I think the upside is there. The floor is pretty high also. So yeah, in this range, I feel like he's a great pick.
But back to the Puka thing, like I like Puka. He's going 9. He's going next to AJ Brown and like running backs that I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess it's not that crazy, but if Stafford, I thought was considering retirement last offseason, and then obviously had a pretty good year and everything, and they already have Cup. Like, I mean, it's possible that a rookie comes out, has that legendary season he did, and then that, he was also an older prospect.
Do we just do it with Godwin here?
Yes, we do.
I feel like we got to.
I just start thinking about correlation. I mean, I hate to say it, but I think we're destined to be in that Washington game again.
I mean, I think we are too. Yeah, we've got the 2 Atlanta guys, but maybe we can do it a little bit differently than we did it last time. Or I guess we took Drake London and not Breece Hall. So we're doing the opposite now. Now we're doing Bijan and Kyle Pitts. Last time we did Drake London. Maybe we end up with Kirk instead of Jaden Daniels. We can do it a little bit different, but it's a fun game. Good to see you, Jack Off. Jack Off is here. Good to see you, Jack Off.
Nice. It's a fun game, but that I could see that being the Fox game with the fifth crew, and it's on Red Zone, and it's 10-7 with
true. Yeah, could very well be that. Yeah, absolutely.
That happens. That will be bad for me.
Yep. Any concerns about the Burrow injury limiting the ceiling for Higgins? A little bit. I'm drafting so much Burrow. I'm drafting it as though Burrow is going to be fine, but like Yeah, so I'm not drafting as though I'm worried, but it is something that I know could drastically hurt my best ball season. Like I think the injury, nobody can really gauge how Burrow is going to react. So yeah, I'm a little bit nervous about it. Do you have any opinions there about the Burrow injury, Andrew?
I think it's completely fair to bake that risk in. I just want to live in a world where Burrow is healthy. So I just wanted, that's my hopium for that.
I also think that it is baked in, like where he's going. Like he was a 4 or 5 turn player pick last year. And that was, and then he got hurt and was not as good, but like, I think the injury risk is fully baked in. So I'm willing to take him where he is willing to take that risk. But it is a risk for sure.
I also don't know if Burrow going down completely sinks 4th round T Higgins. You know what I mean?
True.
Like Jake Browning I think it's Jake Browning. Like he could still probably throw 2 touchdowns to Higgins in week 17.
Yeah.
You have 2 receivers already.
Higgins, I feel like, was not very good with Chase healthy last year, though. If I remember correctly, that is my one concern, is that like I feel like his best games were just like when Chase was out last year.
Yeah, I mean, this is where I just go to my football stuff. Like I want T Higgins on my team. T Higgins is freaking awesome.
Nice.
And he can just moss people. Like T Higgins is an awesome football player. Like I don't have to pay an exorbitant price for him.
He I just have nightmare flashbacks to, I'm pretty sure it was against the Vikings. I was at the fantasy football world championship watching it outside on the TV. It's a beautiful day. I think Chase was out, and he did that like catch on the sideline and then somehow managed to like turn around and get his hand into the end zone with the ball. Just a miraculous catch in like week 17 maybe. I think it was, or maybe week 16. I don't know. Probably week 16, because it affected me. It was not good. Maybe even 15, because I hated it.
Right side. It was in the right pylon.
Yep.
I remember that.
Yep. That was not fun for me. I was very much like for all like DFS, best ball, all of it. I was like, I did not want that at all.
Right.
So did not love it. All right. Let's see here. This pick 80. All right, this is ADP. If you don't want to do it, we don't have to do it. We could go Najee again. We could go James Conner or something else.
Just do it.
All right, thank you.
But this is not good, but it's way better than it was a month ago. So
yeah. Pick 80 feels pretty fair.
And I love his quarterback, so that's the other thing about him.
Yeah,
it's whatever.
All right, let's see here. Jackoff says, I am completely dialed into the 2024 season, and I've read the script, and it is actually a brute force early running back year with cheap Packers and Chiefs wide receivers for the win. Choco Taco thinks that Jackoff has this. He figured it out. You might be right. I would not be that shocked if that is the script.
He's right, but it's actually Arizona receivers. It's the
I hope so.
Michael Wilson, Zay Jones, Greg Dortch. He's on to something, but it's the Arizona guys.
How do you feel about Marvin Harrison? I draft a ton of Marvin Harrison. I understand the arguments against it, though. Where do you fall on it?
So again, like I'm a football guy and I watch the film and watch the games, and that's part of my evaluations, but I also recognize that the math is probably more important. So like Marvin Harrison is one of the best receiving prospects we've ever seen. But he's mispriced. He's overpriced based on projections and all that. However, in week 17, when he's playing at his best, I mean, it's Jamar Chase rookie year all over again, right? And now we're just paying for that. Like, he's fine. So I'm going to be around 8%. I'm trying to play this game to win. I'm not trying to play this game to prove myself right. You know what I mean? So I'll be in on Harrison, and I love Kyler. So that's actually part of why I'm definitely not trying to be like super underweight on Harrison, even though he is underpriced. It's been interesting. A lot of people talking about that 112 like it's so bad. I don't mind it at all. I think and honestly, somebody said you just push JT up there and play for him to be the RB1.
Somebody was that? Were you the somebody? Were you the guy who said that?
I was not the guy who said that. I wasn't. I was like, "Ooh, this person's really sharp." Whoever said it.
It might have been. I'm going to follow you. It could have been. I can see that. Yeah.
Because my point was always you play Gibbs as Jamal Charles, and then add in whatever receiver, Garrett Wilson or whoever, and then you just play it that way. That feels good to me. And then the thing I liked about the 112.
Oh, Burrow. One pick before us, Burrow goes. That would have been nice for us.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you didn't want it anyway. Do you want to go Swift here? We do have DJ Moore, so we can build out a little Chicago thing.
I would do
right.
that.
I didn't let you get him last time, so we can do it this time.
Unless you're a big Jonathan Brooks guy.
I wouldn't say I'm a big Jonathan Brooks guy. I draft him some. I'm not as into him as a lot of people are. I did, the Canales, is he the coach? Came out and was like, I can't wait to prove to you guys how committed we are to the run. I'm like, oh God, okay, maybe I do need to be drafting more of this guy.
It drives me crazy, and I like the guy, and he seems like he's somewhat sharp. I mean, his results speak for themselves. Why do they have to say these things? Just don't say them. You're either lying or stupid. Just don't say it. I hate when these coaches do this.
Yeah, but if it is true, then Jonathan Brooks is gonna look pretty good whenever he does start playing.
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan Brooks is the same thing as Hockenson for me. When was his injury? It was late in the season, so you're not getting anything. You have to play it as if you're not getting anything from them in the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
So however you plan to do that, but all the money's won in the playoff round, so it is very possible that Jonathan Brooks is the RB1. I mean, I think back to Breece Hall last year. What did he get in that last? And I think it was week 18 when he got 36 carries or something ridiculous. The Jets just did the dumbest thing ever to beat the Patriots.
T is not a free agent. He is playing on, what do you call it? A tag, franchise tag. Yeah. All right. I realized that the guy who sniped us on Burrow did not have a single Bengal on his team. So just took Burrow as his second quarterback, completely unstacked. That hurts a little bit. But it's fine. We only have one. We only have T.
Caleb.
I mean, yeah, we could just go Caleb here.
Yeah, we go Caleb.
All right. Good with it. So we are at 1-2-5-1. We have Caleb Williams at quarterback. Our running back, we have Bijan Robinson, DeAndre Swift. Wide receiver, Chris Olave, DJ Moore, T. Higgins, Chris Godwin, Ladd McConkey. Tight end, Kyle Pitts. Feeling good. This is a nice start for us. I feel like we have some flexibility going forward with the 1-2-5-1 start. We're off to a nice start here. Oh yeah, I was gonna say when we were talking about Marvin Harrison, I feel like somebody. I read a tweet last week and I almost responded. Somebody put a tweet that was like, Marvin Harrison would need to be a top 8 running back of the past, decade or 2 decades. Top 8 rookie wide receiver of the past 2 decades to pay off his current ADP. What are people doing drafting Marvin Harrison? And I almost responded, but then I was like, I don't actually know this guy, so I don't feel like having this whole conversation. But I almost responded, what I'm doing is drafting a top 3 rookie wide receiver of the past 2 decades. I think the pedigree is there with Marvin Harrison. Now, again, I am not a college football bro, so this is all based on everything I've heard about Marvin Harrison, but it seems like he's pretty clearly could be a generational prospect is my impression. Would you agree with that?
What you just said that you responded, I'm pretty sure I responded to that tweet with that exact sentence.
Oh, that's funny. Okay.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to try to find it right now because that's hysterical.
Well, we're on the clock, so let's make our pick. Dallas Goedert, second tight end. Let's go running back. I think. Do you like Trey Benson, Gus Edwards?
I don't like Trey Benson. I guess you go Gus. That gives us some correlation.
Dontavian Wicks, Khalil Shakir. I don't know.
No Vikings. Yeah, that's fine, Gus.
All right. Cool.
There is. I don't want to say it out loud, but there is one player that I think this team kind of needs.
All right. You can tell me if that player goes.
I guess I can do this private chat thing.
Oh yeah.
All right, I'll tell you in the private chat.
What's up, Tyler? Saw Tyler streaming earlier. All right, here's the private chat. Hell yeah. Into it. Into it. If we can do it.
He said, "What are you paying for?" And I said, "I'm paying for a top 3 rookie of all time." I think
Oh,
that's
that's
exactly what I said.
hilarious.
Yeah.
I think I actually wrote up the tweet. It's probably currently in my saved tweets that I just decided not to send it because I was like, I don't know. I don't really want to get into it with this guy that I don't know. Like I don't actually feel that strongly about it, but it's just like that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm drafting for. Is under the assumption that he could be like much better than that. So
He's talking about top 8, whatever. Like, dude, he's going 12. Like he's going 12 for a reason. The market isn't just making it up. You know what I
right.
mean? Like, obviously, he's not an average rookie receiver.
Yeah. And just like I love the environment. Like he goes into an offense with Kyler at quarterback. You don't usually get the generational wide receiver prospect coming into a situation where he's got, first of all, like tons of targets available to him, like just not a lot of talent around him, and a great quarterback. Like he's just like coming into the optimal situation for a generational talent. Like to me, it's just a pretty great pick.
Yeah, my Rotoballer like draft stuff is I profile those guys and I have a lot of film clips and stuff to show about them. So if you want to read my articles,
Nice.
go into exactly what makes Marvin Harrison so good. And he does have some issues. He's a kind of a like relies on talent, kind of rushes things at times.
Okay.
So I could see there being some early season growing pains. I could see that. Like I don't know if he's going to smash right away.
Is your Rotoballer content behind a paywall? Is it
It is not.
free? Oh,
No.
nice.
If you can literally Google Coach Knows Ball. That'll be my
Coach knows
stuff.
well. Okay.
Coach Knows Ball. Marvin Harrison in my article should be the first one to pop up.
All right. Do we go after the player you mentioned?
As long as
should we take Dallas Goedert?
I don't see a need for. Oh, do we not have a tight end?
We do have a tight end. We have Kyle Pitts.
No, I wouldn't take Goddard. I would. Are we dipping deep into ADP? I can't see to
no,
take my guy.
No. This is right ahead of ADP.
Take my guy.
All right. Nice. So now we have our bring back on the Bears stack. We have Caleb Williams with DJ Moore. We have the bring back of Zach Charbonnet. Love it. I was reading. Do you follow 32 Beat Writers?
Oh yeah.
So I subscribe to their, like, they have a site now, like with a site service, which I have no idea yet to what extent that adds value versus just like reading through the tweets that they retweet and stuff. But reading some beat writers talking about how like the coach can't just ignore how good Zach Charbonnet is. Like he has a conundrum because Kenneth Walker is so good, but also Zach Charbonnet is not the kind of running back that can just be an afterthought. And I was like, I agree with this. I'm pretty sure it was just like a beat writer stating what everybody else thinks, but I was trying to find if is there any actionable, any new news here. I don't think there was, but I like Sharps quite a bit.
You won't get news. It's a first time offensive coordinator. There won't, none of that will matter. But because it is new guys, like Sharps could. This is not likely, and it's probably not going to happen. But Sharps could just be the starter. Mm-hmm. Like this is a brand new coaching staff, and Sharps, like, I love Kenneth Walker for his home run ability, but like he stinks at just getting easy yardage, like short yardage. He's pretty good at the goal line, but his success rate is terrible, and he's a very boomer bust runner. Whereas Sharps is just going to grind it out. So if the coaching staff prefers that, Sharps might have more carries than him, like early. I think Sharps is one of the best picks on the board. Yeah. And the funniest thing is, like pre-draft, when I was like scouting these guys, I liked Walker a decent amount, like probably. I mean, again, where these teams take running backs is ridiculous to begin with. I probably would not draft a running back if I was a real NFL team, but I thought his price was okay.
Kirko was there.
Yeah, I think we take Kirk with Bijan and
yeah.
So here's my question for you: we take Kirk for sure.
Okay.
Like, am I stupid for thinking that I still could go 3 quarterback on this team?
No, not stupid at all.
The reason being is we're fine at receiver.
Yeah, probably fine. I mean, we're obviously we need more running backs, but like we have a pretty solid foundation at running back already. We're great at receiver. We took 5 through the first 7 rounds. And we have an elite tight end start. Yeah, we definitely could do three quarterbacks on this team. The only time I don't do, like, wouldn't even consider 3 quarterbacks is if I take like either Josh Allen and a second quarterback within the top like 12 rounds. I probably wouldn't do a third, or like two quarterbacks in the top 100 picks. Like that's what I'm like, okay, I'm not doing another quarterback at this point. But yeah, if you don't take a single quarterback till after pick 100, then I'm definitely open to a 3 quarterback build.
One thing that we definitely differ on that I'm noticing drafting with you here is like you are super concerned with tight ends, and I just don't care. Like if I draft one early, like I'm just gonna play for him to be good, and I'll take one later. Like that's fine. And I'm also fine with just waiting until the 12th round and just taking 3 bad tight ends.
Yeah. So like the 18th round tight ends are just generally not very good. So like you are right. Like I draft like I typically draft elite tight ends because I think like there's a pretty strong possibility this year that we're gonna have like 4 or 5 like actual elite tight end. Like I think that this might be an outlier year. Now we hear it every offseason. Like we hear so much hype around every single tight end in the league, like how good they look. They're in the best shape of their life. They're going to be used in the Travis Kelce role. Like they do for whatever. It feels like tight ends get hyped up more than other positions. But I do like this year. It feels different. It feels like Sam Laporta is a thing. Trey McBride is a thing. Kelsey's still a thing. Andrews, Pitts. Like there's just, I feel like there are so many potentially elite tight ends that I am a little bit nervous that like going too late with the tight ends, you're going to actually be giving up something real as opposed to like, yeah, there are 2 elite guys, but like you can overcome them. Oh, do we go Komet here for the correlation?
Yeah, we have to.
So speaking of tight ends.
And also that's why I push back on the Goddard thing, because whenever I take Caleb, like I want Komet because he's so freaking cheap, you know?
True. Yeah.
But hold on, let me see something. First of all, where is Justin Herbert? Long gone, right? Yes.
He went at 124, yeah.
Because you know he'll fall. And then where is my guy Ray Davis?
Has not gone.
And we have no Jets, but I don't even care. Yeah, I mean, if we can afford to take a running back here, I would love to be on a stream with you, and Ray Davis is why you win 1.5 million. Right. Because that's my guy.
Don't do it to us, Steve Lutomsky. I see you thinking about it. I know you're thinking about it.
It's fine.
Don't do it.
It's fine.
Yeah, we have plenty of players around here that I like.
Unless there's a Mooney deal. No, Mooney's gone.
Yeah. You see the hype on Rashad Bateman. I feel like he gets so much hype, and I'm into it. I'm buying back into Rashad Bateman once again this year.
You have me questioning everything I do because why do you think I am also in on Rashad Bateman?
Are you in on Rashad Bateman?
I am, but now I'm just thinking it's just because he was a first-round pick. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, you're right. No, but I mean, it sounds
There's
like
something
he
to be
is.
said for that.
All right. We're going to go with your guy, Ray Davis. Yeah.
My guy. Wait, hold on. That's ETR ranks? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
This explains probably why he's fallen a little bit.
Yes.
But he's still like right around ADP. Like if you believe, let's get him.
I do believe. I think he's straight up better than James Cook.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's a hot take.
So forget, and again, I literally wrote an article about Ray Davis. Like the amount of people who are maxing BBM and wrote a film-based article on Ray Davis is 1, and it's just me. So Ray Davis is 25 years old, and that is bad for like his long-term outlook.
Mm-hmm.
But that is great for what his team is going to do with him this year. If
grown-ass man. Yep.
Grown-ass man, and he's trying to win a Super Bowl this year. So if he's better than James Cook at something, he's going to be doing that. And you know what he's probably better than James Cook at? Running at the goal line, where they tried Leonard Fournette and friggin' Latavius Murray and obviously Josh Allen. Ray Davis is a smash, and he's an awesome football player.
All right. I've drafted a ton of not a ton. I like Ray Davis. Honestly, I probably wouldn't say that I draft a ton because I also like, Jaleel McLaughlin and Tyler Algier, and there's other running backs in this range, and I kind of just spread out my exposure. So I'm not like a hyperbole like it sounds like you are with Ray Davis, but I definitely have heard and see the upside case with Ray Davis. Like you said, like that is absolutely the case. Is they clearly don't think that James Cook is the goal line back. Is he? Did he do much in the passing game in college? I guess that's something I haven't really
Ray Davis
looked
is a
into.
better receiver than James Cook.
Is he really? Okay.
Yes.
See, in my mind, he's just like he's the goal line back. So he's probably going to get, 10, 12 touchdowns. And
He's 5'8", 212, 215. He's Frank Gore-ish, MJD-ish. Like, that's what he is.
okay. All right. So maybe I need to be drafting. I've thought of him as a, like, it's weird because he's a rookie, but I think of him as being more of the, like, boring, like, high floor, low ceiling kind of pick.
Maybe it's the name. I don't know.
It might be the name, just a super boring name. And he's 25. So
he's been falling, like you said, and it must be ETR. That's crazy.
all right.
Do we just need a receiver?
We probably need a receiver at this point.
Okay, so I'm just gonna hope that we get one of the. Oh, this guy has 7 receivers, so we should be good. But I'm not gonna say anything. Nice. I'm gonna buy Rashad here.
Let's go.
Why not?
Yep.
Again,
that's the pick. That's the pick right there.
That's the pick. Regardless of whether or not who's saying it, like he's getting positive buzz today. We just got him at 174. He's a former first round pick. He's had like productive games in the past. I'm buying Rashad Bateman at this price. He's going to be going in the 150s if things keep going. You know what I mean?
Juice McCaffrey taking issue. He says better receiver than Cook. Skull, what is in that cup of Andrews? He's not buying it. He's not buying it.
Okay. I mean, look what he did against Florida. Look at his Senior Bowl one-on-one reps. Yes, that's where we're going. Ray Davis, that is a take. It is a take. I'm not, I'm giving you a take here. I think he's a better receiver. James Cook dropped 4 touchdowns. Somebody just tweeted that today. James Cook drops a ton of passes. Like, yes, I knew he was supposed to be a receiver. He's fast, whatever. I love Ray Davis, and I think James Cook is a bit overrated, and I think the Bills will see it that way as well.
All right, I have some thoughts on what we might want to do here. I do see. I mean, based on the ranks, there is some great value right here. This is ADP.
Is Baker Mayfield gone?
Yes.
Oh, then, well.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize something.
We do have our 2 quarterbacks, so we don't necessarily need Baker Mayfield. I totally would have added Baker Mayfield onto this team, but not the end of the world. Puddinhead. All right, that's who I wanted. I wanted Luke McCaffrey for our team. But Antonio Gibson would be fine. I like Jalen McMillan, DJ Chark, Rondell Moore.
Yeah, I mean, with Cousins, I want Rondell Moore on a Cousins team for sure.
Should we just go Estime?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm with that 100%.
Estime over. I struggle with taking him over Antonio Gibson, but I feel like we only want one more running back.
The Patriots offense might be like putrid, where you're just going to be like looking at your teams like, oh shit, I have a Patriot. I wouldn't.
It could be.
And Estime was not someone I was big on pre-draft, and his draft capital stunk. But where he's going in these drafts, and all I know about Chargers and Broncos, I want their backfield. I don't know exactly who, and like I wish I could sit here and say J.K. Dobbins
and Cowboys. Yeah, there's so many of those backfields this year. It's like if we just knew what the split is going to be, I would be all in on taking that player. But we just don't know who it's going to be.
And then when you're drafted 150, you just got to spray it around. Yeah. So, Estime is again like because the way it works, like I do dynasty content and play dynasty leagues and stuff. Like prior to the NFL draft, you're already developing these takes for these players, and then you're kind of corroborated or shown that you're wrong based on where they're then drafted. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I was anti-Estime for the most part, and I that was a a win for me. You know what I mean? Because he was drafted so late. But now at this price, I'm in. Again, I have strong player takes, but I'm still trying to win these tournaments. You know what I mean? Like I'm not. NFL teams make mistakes on player evaluations all the time. Like we're gonna make player take mistakes. But I'm not going to be if Ray Davis truly is the guy who smashes in week 17 and I didn't have 25, 30% of him, then why am I even playing, you know?
Right. All right. We found the culprit who took our quarterback. John Mean Superfan went Baker Mayfield, quarterback 3 build. Yeah, that makes sense.
I think we're okay though.
Is the MMG a mini mania? Apparently MMG is like a famous YouTuber who does like gaming content and made a deal with Underdog and they gave him a contest. No, it is the same format where it is like it's best ball, like standard best ball. So I don't know what you mean by mini mania, but I guess in that sense it is the same type of format. All right, we are on the clock. We could go Derek Carr here.
I do.
Yep.
Carr's mispriced. I mean, he's a great pick.
I really like Carr. Yeah, he's a late one of my favorite late round picks. I feel like that is the thing is like the best values in round 17 and 18 for the most part are the quarterbacks, like which is maybe I guess it was sort of true last year. There were some good values late,
especially pre-training camp.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm pounding these 3 quarterback builds as much as I can.
Yeah. No, I think you get some good values here.
I mean, I think we're going to be on the same page for this last pick as well.
I think we are too, because we've already talked about it.
Yep.
But we have some backup options, I think.
I mean, the only thing about Carr is I would prefer to double stack him.
I would too.
Which it's not, completely non-negotiable, but I would like to double stack him if possible. So that would be the fallback if we don't get who we're hoping for.
I don't love A.T. Perry though.
I was just thinking that I haven't drafted much of him, but again, to me, I would like just embrace we said 600K,
embrace the variance,
500 people, just embrace it and just take A.T. Perry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm never going to do it again. On this particular team, he does make sense.
Yep.
It's like the old blender thing, right? Play whoever you want.
Yep. Very true. Very true.
I think. Yep.
All right. Where did he go? There we go. And we're done. 3672. Nick, I see you asking thoughts on your team. We will take a look after the draft is done. We'll take a look at our team, your team. Anybody else who wants us to look over your team, let us know. Happy to sauce you. This is my 84. So I'll have 66 remaining BBM bullets after this one. And I'm going to get there. I'm going to stream them all. I think we're at like 45% fill. My guess is that it is picking up a little bit, but I think that I probably have till like early September to finish them. That's what I'm telling myself. Otherwise, I'm going to be a big fraud. If there is a possibility still that I go on vacation in August, thinking that I have like with some bullets left, thinking that I'll be able to come back and get the streams done. There is the possibility that it fills while I'm gone, and I've been talking about how I'm going to be the oldest ever stream 150, and it's just going to be a lie. So that would be devastating. But I think I'll do it. I think I'll get it done. All right. There we go. Okay. All right, we'll start with our team. We have Caleb Williams, Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr at quarterback. At running back, we have Bijan Robinson, DeAndre Swift, Gus Edwards, Zach Charbonnet, Ray Davis, Audric Estime. At wide receiver, Chris Olave, DJ Moore, T. Higgins, Chris Godwin, Ladd McConkey, Rashad Bateman, Rondale Moore. Tight end, Kyle Pitts and Cole Kmet. So we have Caleb Williams with DeAndre Swift and DJ Moore and Cole Kmet. We have the bring back of Zach Charbonnet. We've got Kirk Cousins with Bijan Robinson and Kyle Pitts. We do not have a bring back from Washington. We have Derek Carr with Chris Olave. We don't have a Vegas bring back for that one either. Still, I think pretty strong team. I think this is a good 3 quarterback build. I don't love, the Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr having the same bye week, but prefer if you're going to have overlapping bye weeks, prefer it to be quarterbacks 2 and 3 instead of like 1 and 2. So I think that's okay. Running backs, I think this is a pretty strong running back room. We went with the hero RB build with Bijan Robinson, but I think we added on some starters in DeAndre Swift and Gus Edwards and some guys who have the potential to become starters in Charbonnet, Ray Davis, and Audric Estime. So really strong running back room, I think. Obviously strong at wide receiver, where we took 5 in the first 7 rounds, and then added on Rashad Bateman, Rondell Moore. We go elite tight end with Kyle Pitts, add on Cole Kmet. I feel good about this team. How do you like it, Andrew?
I like it. I think it's dependent on Bateman or McConkey, kind of, just to give us that depth. But these are the type of teams that I build. I just try to get the 3 quarterbacks and correlate them all. The run back stuff is, I try to do it, but if you don't do it, it's still fine,
Yeah.
No, I like this team. Pretty robust at running back.
You know that you're down on a player when you take him at pick 80 and you refer to him as a depth piece. Lad McConkey.
Well, yeah, right.
Yeah. No, I think it is a good team. We did have a few others who wanted us to sauce them. We will start with Nick. So Nick goes Trevor Lawrence, Tua, and Baker Mayfield at quarterback. At running back, he has Devin Achane, Rashad
Florida.
White.
He's stuck in Florida. Just stuck in Florida.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He's stuck in Florida. That's crazy. Zamir White, Kendra Miller, CEH at wide receiver, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Christian Kirk, Cortland Sutton, Josh Downs, Adam Thielen, Jalen McMillan, OBJ at tight end, Trey McBride, and Evan Ingram. So he's got Trevor with Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram. He does not have any Tennessee bringback. He's got Tua with Devin Achane and Tyreek Hill and OBJ. Does he have any Cleveland? No Cleveland bring back. And then he has Baker with Rashad White, Jalen McMillan. And then does he have any Carolina? He has Adam Thielen bring back on that one. So is that game stacked? I think the quarterbacks, to me, that's a very good 3 quarterback build. Running backs very strong with Devin Achane and Rashad White. Zamir White is your top 3. Kendra Miller, CEH, both running back 2s with some upside. Very strong at wide receiver. Well, strong start. So he starts with 3 receivers in the first 4 rounds. Then he waits a little bit, goes Sutton, Downs, Thielen, McMillan, OBJ. I feel like that's a pretty strong. Like he gets there with volume, and then very strong at tight end. Yeah, I think it's a good team. What do you think, Andrew?
It is. This is the problem with the saucing. It's a good team. Like he built it well and he correlated. Can I just see the running backs again?
Yeah. So his running backs are Devin Achane, Rashad White, Zamir White, Kendra Miller, CEH.
Yeah, I mean that could be an issue, and if it is, you have no chance. But as far as building the right way in a plus EV way, like he definitely did it.
Yep. Yeah, you're making some bets on these guys hitting. I think pretty likely that Achane, White, and Zamir White are getting like good volume from the get go. Kendra Miller, like it's kind of an open situation there. What's going on with Kamara? Didn't look very good. Was not very efficient last year. So maybe Kendra Miller can work his way into a role. I don't know if he's going to start the season with a big role, but he can get there. CEH obviously a very good contingent play as of right now, at least. I think you did it right. All right, who was next? We got a couple. Min O. KP Minnow goes Stafford and Deshaun Watson at quarterback. Running back Travis Etienne, Alvin Kamara, Tony Pollard, Trey Benson, Jalen Wright, Khalil Herbert, Roshan Johnson. Wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown, Brandon Ayuk, Cooper Kupp, Calvin Ridley, Brian Thomas, Gabe Davis, Eli Moore, tight end Brock Bowers, and Jonnu Smith. So he has Stafford with Kupp, Trey Benson, bring back. He's got Deshaun Watson with Eli Moore, Jonnu Smith, bring back, and Jalen Wright, bring back. So a couple of thin stacks. Do you think this is a strong enough quarterback room, Andrew?
I wouldn't do it.
Feels a little bit thin to me.
Yeah, if I was doing that, I would have more Rams or even more Cleveland and Miami stuff, just because you're just playing for one of those quarterbacks to absolutely smash. Because if they play like to their projection, you're just going to be beat up there. And then the other thing is, like, they might both be out in week 8, and then
nobody will be shocked if both these quarterbacks are done by week out. Like, nobody's going to be shocked at all. Yeah,
you just have zeros for the rest of the season, so you finish 12th. Sorry.
Yeah, like it could work. Like it's live enough, but yeah, I think that's a little bit thin at quarterback. I probably would have added one more on there.
Yeah, he wanted Lawrence, clearly, right? He has a ton of Jacksonville. Is that?
Oh yeah, he has ETN. He has
also there's
Thomas,
no reason,
Gabe Davis.
There's no reason to have Roshan Johnson on this team.
I was gonna say, like, he does the handcuff again with Herbert and Roshan Johnson.
He did last time. There's no reason to have Roshan Johnson, especially with Herbert, unless you're like literally playing for Herbert to get traded to Dallas or whatever.
Right.
But even then, Roshan kind of stinks. I never liked him.
Yeah, this is all the QBs you wanted got sniped. I mean, that's the kind of thing that happens. Like when your quarterback gets sniped, like you made the most of it in a tough situation where you're going after certain quarterbacks. It happens. Yeah, I mean, it's live. This, like, I wouldn't be shocked if this lineup advances. But yeah, it's pretty thin at quarterback. You're hoping obviously that two vets hang in there.
And if the Cleveland Miami game blows up and it's Deshaun Watson to Elijah Moore with Jalen Wright and John scoring all the touchdowns, you earned it, man.
Also, you are getting called out. Just so you know, JMC says Levis was available super late for him to get his QB3. I think Levis would have been a good pick for you super late with Ridley on the team. So that probably would have been
absolutely
a good addition.
That's your win. That's how you actually win the tournament right there.
But he didn't. So he would have needed to do it with where?
No, he has Ridley.
No, but he took Elijah Moore to add on to his Cleveland stack. He needed Eli Moore. Probably should have taken Elijah Moore, but he needed Jonnu Smith also. Where could he have deviated? Oh, Roshan Johnson. Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, you should have gone Will Levis instead of Roshan Johnson. Yeah, I think you should have rearranged that somehow. I think you could have made it happen with a 3 quarterback build.
Like, the way I think about it is, you could have thin, weird stuff like that Deshaun Watson thing, but you have to have something that, like, makes sense. I don't know, that you could see happening. I don't know. That's kind of the way I think about it.
Yeah, feels a bit thin to me. Not the worst lineup I've seen. Like, you're within all of the, like, the right number of quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. Yeah, so it could work out. But I feel like you're a little bit thin at quarterback, probably a little bit too much spent at running back. But yeah, could work. All right, and then I think D. Lutomsky was the only other person who wanted sauce. Goes with Kyler and Purdy at quarterback. At running back, Jahmyr Gibbs, Joe Mixon, Rico Dowdle, Tyler Algier, Bucky Irving. Wide receiver, Marvin Harrison, Tank Dell, Zay Flowers, Rashid Shaheed, Jacoby Myers, DeMarcus Robinson, Malachi Corley, Javon Baker, DJ Chark. Tight end, George Kittle, and Jake Ferguson. So he's got Kyler with Marvin Harrison. Has the bring back of DeMarcus Robinson on that one. He's got Brock Purdy with Kittle. Has the bring back of Jahmyr Gibbs. I think that's it. Kyler and Purdy, I think, is a perfectly good quarterback room. I like that. Gibbs, Mixon, Dowdle, Algier, Bucky Irving. I think that's probably a good enough running back room. Harrison, Dell, Flowers, another little mini correlation there. Shaheed and Myers, another mini correlation there. Corley, Baker, another mini correlation here. Baker and Chark. Yeah, I think this is a good team. What do you think?
Kittle and Gibbs is one of my favorite correlations. I just see it really like two high ceiling players whose prices are fine for that single game ceiling. Can you just scroll up for 1 second? I had another thought on this team.
Yeah.
It was Kyler, and then who did he have with Kyler? Marvin Harrison. Yeah. Did he have any Rams?
Demarcus Robinson.
Yeah, I've heard you talk about Demarcus Robinson. If it's him or McConkey for the worst pick on the board.
Oh, you are so wrong.
Yeah. I cannot believe how many people who do content are in on Demarcus Robinson. It's bizarre. He's been in the league for 10 years or 9 years or whatever. He's been good for like 5 weeks. Like
he's been good for the most recent 5 weeks, and he's expected to retain that role.
The NFL is a week-to-week league. Retain that role. Yeah, I get he'll be getting snaps, but like, so Tutu Atwell's just gone. Like he's never going to play again.
Yeah, probably. Oh wait, hey, I'm going right now to the 32 beat writers. Okay, where can I find this? I don't know where to find it. They said nice things about Demarcus Robinson literally today. The beat writers were saying nice things about Demarcus Robinson. On Demarcus Robinson, Cameron De Silva of Rams Wire says Robinson made a huge difference for the Rams in the second half of last season after he became the number 3 receiver. He was a great complement to Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, providing some downfield speed and verticality to the offense while also winning pretty consistently in the red zone. Now, again, I think I talked about this earlier. Like he didn't actually give us any new information. Like we all saw that last year, but I'm still leading into it because I like Demarcus Robinson.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't able to do that with Patrick Mahomes though for 4 years or whatever.
Yeah, Stafford elevates his receivers. Whereas, I mean, look at the receivers that on Patrick Mahomes' teams last year. He had Sky Moore, bust. He had Marquez Valdes-Scantling, bust. He had Justin Ross, bust. Every single receiver outside of Rashee Rice. So Patrick Mahomes just kind of deflates receivers, whereas Matthew Stafford, clearly Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua came out of nowhere, Demarcus Robinson. So maybe Stafford is just the type of quarterback who elevates his quarterbacks, his receivers.
So
all right, yes, you said 2. Okay.
Oh, there you go. We see random spurts of production all the time. You know, it's just we see it all the time. I don't know why we're buying this one so much. And honestly, I'm more biased against it because I just keep hearing content creators talk about Demarcus Robinson. Like there are far more interesting, exciting players to be talking about in that range. Everyone's talking about Demarcus Robinson, a journeyman.
To be fair, when we started talking about him, he was an 18th round pick.
Okay,
there has been steamed up too,
which is fine. You want to take him in the 18th round? I mean, I've taken him a couple of times. If you want to take him in the 18th round, that's fine. But
I also think he's a good pick on this particular team because he has Kyler. So like I don't think he's a great pick at pick. I'm not taking him at 157 if I don't have a game stack. But I think when you have the game stack built out, all the other Rams pieces are gone. I think he's fine there.
I remember what my thought on this team is. Why my instinct tells me when I look at this team is that he does not need a receiver. He needs another running back, not another receiver. That's just what. And again, it sounds like a meme, but like it's half PPR. Like, why do you need another receiver on this team?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't get his 4th until pick 108.
That's fair.
But yeah, I think I
have
probably
9.
agree.
Does he have 9, or does he have 8?
He does. He has 9 receivers. Yeah,
I don't. And so when I first started playing best ball, and everyone was starting out, like I drafted 9 or 10. Remember, we were drafting 4 10s,
yep.
2 4 10 2 in almost every draft. I don't want to do that anymore. I literally draft 7 or 8 receivers in almost every single draft. I never want to draft 9. I just, like I said, some of the late, like Estime, for example, like I'd just rather take someone like that. Or really, what I really want to do at the end of drafts is take my 3rd quarterback or 3rd tight
end. Do you have your Ray Davis graphic handy? I just saw that we were.
Yeah, I have. I have it. Like, would I share my screen? Is that how that would work?
I mean, if you have it, is it something that is public? Like, could you just send me the link? Would that be?
Yeah, I
we
can.
post in
Yeah,
chat?
I can link it to you right now.
Okay. Yeah. Let's just do that. We'll take a quick look at Ray Davis, and then we will call it a night.
All right. So I'm going to send you this. This is the actual article. So if you just scroll down a little bit, you'll see the graphic.
Okay. I'm going to pull up the article.
And then in the beginning of my article here, of course, who was I on 2 years ago? Rookie running back that no one really loved because non-film takes was Kyren Williams.
Oh.
So here's my Kyren Williams thing. Draft Williams in Dynasty. Keep him on your radar and redraft. That was his rookie year. Now here's my Ray Davis graphic, right? Okay. So let's see his receiving. 33, 323, and 7, which is good for in college. Like, obviously in the NFL, it's a lot more, but 33 catches in college is a lot. And then downfield stuff. He would catch the ball like on wheel routes down the field. And then in one-on-ones, there's a clip of Senior Bowl one-on-ones where he makes like a one-handed catch. He's a very good receiver.
JMC didn't believe. Yeah, those are pretty good receiving numbers.
So there are my comps for him, right? Frank Gore, obviously style. I'm not saying he's going to be one of the greatest.
Yeah.
Devin Singletary, MJD.
So those are, I mean, Singletary is fine, but yeah, Gore and MJD, those are all-time comps. So
4.5, 240. Like, he's not going to be a home run guy. He's 24. But to me, it's like, let's say he was 21. Is he going in the 4th round of the NFL draft? Like, no, he's probably going in the 2nd or 3rd. So the fact that but that age helps us this year, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my Ray Davis take.
Love it. All right. That's funny. Jewish Picard says, I do have double-digit Ray Davis exposure, but I'll defend Cook to the death. That's funny. All right. We're all aligned. We all like Ray Davis. Some of us like James Cook better than others. Andrew, it was a lot of fun having you on, doing a couple drafts with you. I appreciate you coming on the stream. Are you going to be doing some content during the NFL season? Where can people find you? Where can people find your stuff?
NFL season stuff. I'm mostly doing the draft stuff. I'll be in the Underdog streets though, for sure. I do have a couple of premiums articles out on Rotoballer in the draft kit. And then the one article that I do write every year where I did tout Kyren Williams is my bold predictions article. I love writing it because, again, to me, fantasy football is median projections, and it's a great exercise to do them, and the podcast where they go over them, it's fine. But you're looking for those ceiling outcomes. And I think a bold predictions article that's well researched, I think, can be pretty useful because it's like, these are my targets. So I write that 15 bold predictions every year. So that'll be coming out, I would say, early August.
Oh, yeah. And it'll be at Rotoballer?
At Rotoballer, yes.
Okay. And if you want to follow Andrew, I'm sure he will also post it to his Twitter at Draft32Teams. Check it out if you haven't already. Thank you very much, Andrew. This was a lot of fun getting these teams, getting 83 and 84 done for me. I think they were pretty solid teams. So thank you for helping me draft those. Thanks to everybody else for hanging out with us as well. It was a lot of fun. I will be probably not doing any content tomorrow. I don't have any plan for tomorrow. I will be back on Wednesday doing some content as well. Thanks, guys. Catch you next time.